What is going on, everybody, and welcome in to episode 143. Another episode exclusively on Twitch because, well, I'm just going to say it. Fuck YouTube. Fuck YouTube. Fuck whatever it is that you got on the back end that keeps YouTube from dropping and wanting to have a decent connection. I fucking hate this shit. I so hate it. And if anybody in chat knows how to fucking fix it, where just our frame, the bitrate just doesn't keep bottoming out, please let me know.
Multi-streaming specifically.
I mean, yeah, it's for multi-streaming. I don't know why. I don't know why it's doing it, but yeah, it's quite annoying. So, but we are here and we are doing the show regardless. And for all of our people that watch us on YouTube, we'll just have to get to VOD afterward. But that's why we multi-stream. That's why we do it on Twitch as well. So welcome in, everybody. I got a full cast. Tony's back from his hiatus. He was out of town last week, so was not able to join us. But he is here now and super happy.
Hello, everyone.
To have him on the show.
I'm in the corner.
You're in the corner, yeah. You guys bitched and moaned about me.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
Chat, let me explain to you something real quick. The prima donnas that are in this channel about wanting to be in certain spots and certain places.
Let's say that. Let's say the
camera
real.
over. Can you move my camera over? Because like I'm not centered to where I need to be.
Let's say the real story, and it's fucking
Christ.
Sin can't get us centered correctly, and he can't get us in the correct position.
Oh my god! One day,
I just can't believe this is coming from Sin.
After
everything that Sin has put us through.
I have all of the to the millimeter pixel density differences typed out. I know where don't give me this bullshit. Sitting over here yes, I'm a perfectionist, but I'm not the one that's I put everybody in a certain corner. I put everybody in certain places, and everyone's like, I'm facing Bill, and I'm not facing the rest of the direction. Can I be moved into a different spot? and they would be like, I need to move. Can you shrink me down and blow me up a little bit more?
Okay, chill,
if you want to blow me,
dude, it's just Jesus.
I was about to yell at you for having my green screen cut off improperly, but it was just the cat fucking it up. So you're clear this time, Sin.
Damn it, Leon! Yeah, that's not my fault that time. All right. Well, in any case, welcome in, everybody. At least all the Twitch streamers or Twitch viewers, and yeah, we're live, and we've got there's a lot to talk about. We actually have not really four different games. We've got two different games, an update to two different games that we're gonna be talking about, plus a bunch of news and all of that kind of stuff. But
hell yeah.
Yeah. I did want to go ahead and let everybody know, by the way, that we've got this show, and then we have two additional shows, I believe, correct? And then that is it. So that is we calling it there. I think we've got two more shows. So we've got the 14th episode. And then we're gonna have a show on the 21st, and the 21st episode is actually going to be Pre-Patch's Game of the Year episode.
Game of the Year.
Yeah, so
going out with the big bang.
Enjoy a little bit of a break, a little bit of a hiatus.
Yeah.
And let everybody kind of rest and recharge. Not to say that you obviously won't see us still streaming. But we will still. We may throw up like a 2-man show or something like that if something kind of crazy happens.
Probably be throwing one up whenever the actual Game of the Year ceremony or whatever it is goes on. Well, I'll at least have a stream going up either on the podcast channel or on my personal channel. Probably on the podcast channel, and then whoever wants to join me can join me.
Hell yeah.
Sounds good.
If I'm off, I'll be there.
Oh, was that Deadpool?
Was what Deadpool? Yeah, yes. Because I'm about to change the location, so everybody's gonna disconnect, and now everybody's gonna reconnect. Here we go. Hold on. Wait for it. Did I just fuck Enigma and Billy out of the show? That is awesome.
Who the fuck needs them?
Yeah. Hey, me and Tony made it back.
You and Tony survived the purge.
There we go.
There we go. I don't know. Discord's acting shitty. Look, I'm gonna be honest right now, man. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm not a conspiracy.
Are you sure it's not just your internet?
I'm not. No, dude. I just tested my internet. Like, I'm telling you.
Listen, I had issues for over a month where it was testing fine, but something was fucky. So somebody on your network could have a bad connector.
I don't know, man. I've got no clue, and I have like threatened death upon my children if they load up fucking DayZ. So you know, it's yeah. We're gonna leave it alone. We're gonna leave it where it's at. I don't know. I've yeah. All right. Let's
okay.
let's talk about video games. Can we talk about something else? Like,
Is that what this podcast is about?
yeah, it's about video
All
games. It's
right.
not about internet or tech issues. It's not about the fucking, you know, the election or any of that kind of shit or my conspiracy theories that, you know, we're getting our internet EMP'd by just me, just specifically me. Like they're just targeting
Just your house,
just me.
individual
Yeah,
EMP.
Yeah. So
Let's not talk about the government.
yeah, we're not talking about the government. There's enough. You want to see that, go on TikTok. Okay, let's talk about video games, and we're gonna kick off actually with Enigma. You've been playing a game called Brighter Shores, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I checked it out.
What is
pretty-
Brighter Shores?
Yeah, so if you do not know what it is, first off, where the fuck you been? Have you been living under a rock for the last?
Okay, well, excuse the fuck out of
20
me.
years.
I didn't know what the fuck it was.
I have no clue what it is either.
No, I'm not
I
talking about this.
too.
I'm not talking about this. If you don't know what RuneScape is, obviously everybody should have played RuneScape at this point. This is a game very very similar to RuneScape. It's kind of like a callback class to the cult classic RuneScape. It's actually made by one of the co-creators of RuneScape.
I remember this now.
I believe his name is Andrew Gower. I think Gower, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm sorry for murdering your name, Andrew. But yeah, he was one of the co-creators for RuneScape. This game kind of blends the immersive story with an extensive sandbox environment. Where when it came down to that, very similar veins, right? You've got a lot of a very intricate world. It's not as detailed as like some of these other games that are coming out recently. It's kind of a not in the form of RuneScape, where RuneScape is more of like a polygon system. This actually has depth and 3D textures and everything like that to it, right? But very basic gameplay when it comes down to like an MMO in general, right? You're doing the same exact things you were doing in RuneScape. You're going out, you're killing things. It's a very very blocky combat. I don't know if you're showing the character creator, but you might want to boot it forward a little ways into the actual gameplay.
You're really getting into this in-depth character creator.
They actually surprisingly they had a really impressive character creator. I was not
It looks
expecting
simple,
it to be that
but
impressive.
not yeah, like
It's not
got some,
it's not
some
like
stuff to it.
it's not like Black Desert, quality, but it's definitely
Why
not.
would it be?
You know,
that would be
it's
weird.
definitely not the worst thing in the world that I've ever
Yeah.
seen when it comes down to like indie devs and everything like that. So it's this game has a very simple play style, right? You go, it doesn't have very in-depth combat. You click on things, you make sure that you have them selected and actually like targeted, and then you hit a button and your dude walks over to him and starts combat, right? It's just like RuneScape. Same good, like right down to like you have so many life skills as well. I don't know the exact number, but you've got like fishing, cooking, alchemy, everything, right? You've got the basics, and they all have very in-depth like leveling systems as well. So like this entire game has like a progression system where it comes down to like everything is based off your character's level, and that level isn't just based off of your combat level, right? So like it takes into consideration your combat level, it takes into consideration your life skills levels, right? And that gives you like like a huge number on the front of your person, and that's your full level, right? I'm trying to think of everything else. Like the visuals, again, very 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 reminiscent of like a higher quality or a higher fidelity RuneScape. Still down to that 3D quality, but you're able to actually get in there and see. The most unique system on this is the fact that it has a tile system, which you guys have probably seen. Like each individual area is separated out between like a tiles. Like instead of like in RuneScape where it was just like one map, each individual tiles make up the entire map,
Are they
right?
each instances, or are they just like? Is it just a fog of war? Like as you click to the further end of a tile area,
I'm not
it'll load
entirely sure if it's an instance based.
because That's
it
that
seems
was
like
the
it
main thing I
is.
saw like on this game originally when like the trailer came out and everyone's like, oh, this is stupid. You have to like go to each tile like and load into each tile or something. And
well, you're not.
I
You're
didn't
not,
think
and you're not
that's how it
loading.
was.
Like it's each individual tile.
still
You're not
walk
really
through.
loading. You still kind of are. I think they're still kind of playing that same game that like what was it? Ratchet and Clank did with their
the hidden load times.
Yeah, it's not. You don't have barely any loading time. It's a very quick transition between them. So I don't know. They could be instanced. I'm not entirely sure.
Gotcha.
Each individual area that I walked through was very, very populated. Granted, this is a very popular game at the moment. It's pulling in some pretty decent numbers, but I'm not hearing anything now. Hopefully we're coming through fine. I
mean, it's fine. It's fine. Sure. I mean, the stream is fine. Everything is good. I'm just, I'm being my analytical or like overly perfectionist self. Continue talking about your 70-year-old RuneScape game that has now been updated.
Do you go anywhere past do you go anywhere past the first town in this that we can see?
You do. They have a weird system with this one. So they have gone in and they basically stated this is free to play. You can go and play it for nothing. They have it locked. It is out now. They have a very weird system. So it's free to play up to a certain point. Let me just go in and Bright Story. I forgot to pull this. I was going to talk about it. Where was it? Bright Story. They had Bright Shores. My bad, Shores. They have a progression system currently that's going on that's at a certain point. So Hope Fort and Hope Forest are the only two areas as a free to play that you can play in. You can then go and buy a premium pass, which I believe is $5, which gives you access to the rest of the content. Mines of Mantuban.
Is that a monthly pass?
I don't think it's a monthly pass. I'm pretty sure it's just a single purchase.
Premium pass, because that for $5, I guess that's fine. I would be fine with something like that.
So here's my thing: try to explain this game to me from a person who's never played RuneScape before, because I'm trying to understand what it reminds me.
Have you never played RuneScape before?
I've never played or even heard of RuneScape, to be honest. It looks like Sims to me. I'm sorry. Listen,
my God, Tony!
It looks like Sims to me.
That's kind of funny. I
can see that. That is insane, dude.
Listen, the only reason they even came to mind is because I watch a streamer play Sims, and I'm just like, this looks like Sims. I'm sorry.
That's crazy,
man. Down to the roots of it, it's like it's still an archaic kind of MMO. I mean, like any other, but it's more. So I don't know how you would describe it. Not rough around.
So RuneScape, it's just a very it's just a very basic like if you think back to games like Ultima or like the original EverQuest games, right? EverQuest and Ultima inspired RuneScape very heavily, and RuneScape was just a very basic free to play MMO back in like the early 2000s that released and got extremely popular in a very niche way. It was almost like, do you remember Free Grounds? Those old like Free Grounds games?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was almost to that aspect. Like it became very cult classic. It got a very good, very heavy cult following when it came down to things. And now you've got things like EverQuest. Is it vanilla or what's the re-release? Do you guys remember what the re-release name for it was?
Yeah, you really don't. I don't follow EverQuest too much.
Either way, yeah, they've tried to re-release it to be what it was back in the day because they've updated it since. Obviously, it's gotten graphical updates and everything like that throughout the years, but they never really garnered that same popularity, notoriety, whatever you want to call it, right? So they're kind of trying to do the same thing World of Warcraft is doing, and they're trying to get back to that old school, the vanilla style, right? This game follows that original formula extremely heavily. It's very basic combat. Like I said, you're literally just clicking on things and hitting a button, or clicking on things and pressing the 1, 2, 3 key, right? I think the biggest draw that would draw somebody into this is definitely if they've played RuneScape and they're looking for that nostalgia feel, because current day players of like the current day MMOs are not going to like this. I don't really see this being something that like the new generation of MMO players are going to enjoy playing, right? Like it's just not, it's not flashy. There's not a lot going on.
Gotcha.
It's very basic.
Simple
again,
and effective.
Yeah, simple and effective is the key terms for these. This is the actual premium pass was the biggest source of contention that I have. I'm like, if it's a monthly thing, which I don't think it is, Writer Shores.
That's a big
pass.
like
this is different
difference.
for me. Yeah.
I think this will draw the
it is a monthly
RuneScape players.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, okay. So
that's rough. Even for $5.99 for a 30-day subscription.
$5 is not the worst. It just really depends on how much content they're locking behind it.
They're locking two areas, Mines of Mantiban and Chronopolis. They're locking those two down. Unique character names, which was something that I saw. So when you enter your name in the starting areas in this whole port has a suffix. So it's got like, my name is Enigma, but technically my name is Enigma #7. Apparently there's 7 other Enigmas out there, right? You have to pay for the premium pass to get a unique name, apparently.
Wow.
To like lock your name.
They have exclusive armor dyes, which is whatever. They have the ability to change your name, which again is weird to me. And then they have player-to-player trading, which is locked behind the premium pass, which I can see that would combat bots to a certain extent, right? Like that's going to stop bots. I think
the main thing is the locking zone to me.
Yeah,
is like, but
it's a little weird
to lock that behind a monthly subscription is kind of weird. If
you
were to say lock it behind a pay once fee, still is kind of not the best, but
I could see it less.
You could do what Albion does, right? Like Albion Online, like you pay for a premium subscription to be able to, increase your life skills, make, progression a little bit faster or whatever else. I mean, they don't lock content behind it. I mean, it's a free to play game. It's top down. I mean, it's not this, but it's very close. I mean, it's an MMO top down.
I don't know if I would prefer that either, but
yeah, I'm not sure either. But it's again, it's one of those things where it's like you're hearkening back to the old school days of RuneScape. I played a lot of RuneScape back in the day. I like the game, but at the same time, I found it fairly dull when it came down to it. And I don't know if that's just the fact that like I've grown older and I've played all these other games like Black Desert, all these newer MMOs. You've outgrown that. Yeah, I've outgrown that original like pull for those very basic games. But on the flip side as well, though, like I did find some enjoyment in it. Like I could see the fun in it. It's very strange, the premium pass. I think that's the biggest problem that I have with the game is just like the premium pass seems weird to me, especially since like there's not a lot of content to begin with. Like they're locking two other options. You're granted Hopeport and Hope Forest are, from what I've been told, like huge. You're not only that, like the locking down of your actual skill growth, you're going to be spending a shitload of time just getting your skills up to the point that you can go into the Mine of Mantiban. I don't know how to pronounce this, but from everything that I've heard from like Pro Templar, he's been playing it a little bit. He said that it like you can spend hours grinding your skills, grinding your combat, everything like that. And if that's something that you like, you'll probably enjoy it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the gameplay loop is enjoyable in that aspect. Would I necessarily put a ton of hours into it? Probably not. No.
Medieval Sims, bro. I like this.
Medieval Sims, yeah. That is a thing. That like Medieval Sims is a thing. There is a Medieval Sims game.
It's what it's giving me while I'm watching. So I'm just like, oh, that's yeah.
But yeah, like what we're watching right now. This is the extent of the combat, from what I can understand. So it's very basic. You get other weapons. Each of these individual enemies has certain resistances. Like in this instance, I think that later on I was trying to hit him with like an ice weapon, and I found out these guys have ice resistance. So I was getting fucked by that because I didn't realize that right off the bat. So there is some granularness to it, or whatever you want to call it. Like there is a little bit of depth to it, but it's very basic. It's not going to win game of the year for the most intricate of MMOs, you know. So, but surprisingly, for a return to form for these guys, I think overall it feels like a love letter to like classic MMOs for sure. While still bringing some basic new ideas from the newer genres, and I think it manages to like balance the combat with existing non-combat activities, which I think is kind of nice. A lot of MMOs kind of struggle with that, right? You either pick whether you want to put your time into combat, or you pick whether you want to put your time into gathering,
resource
crafting.
gathering.
Yeah. So I think they do a really good job of juggling that. And it's supposed to be a completely player driven economy, kind of like Albion Online. So that's going to be really cool.
Except you have to do player trading. You gotta
you have to pay for it. Yeah.
And you need players, so hopefully this game does well enough to get a player base. That's the main thing. Player driven economies.
It's still less than what the RuneScape monthly fee is. So
yeah, they're like $9.99, aren't they?
Yeah,
I think they've only gone up for recently. Yeah, they were. It wasn't too long ago.
I mean, keep in mind too, though, that you're talking about a player base. I mean, old school RuneScape, I just looked it up. Got a daily player base of 350,000. Total players is 58 million. You know,
and that's just 6. Old school too.
I mean,
that's just old.
I mean, Brighter Shores
about this game. Like what?
Brighter Shores isn't doing too bad right now. All time peak as of yesterday was 21,000 for a very niche game.
It's gonna pull. I mean, niche in the sense
it'll pull some.
Sure, like I mean, but again, you're targeting that old school RuneScape audience. Like, you know, if you read the chat comments, everyone's like, "This is not a carbon copy," and it's not. But it is still close. No. It's still close enough to be what, you know, the people that like old school RuneScape, the people that like those types of games are going to gravitate toward this. They're going to want to play it. They like it. It's free. You know, it's something that they can put time into
to a certain extent.
You know,
and they don't have many games of this genre in
there's not
catalog,
a lot of those.
You know what this screams to me though, like more than anything, and we've been talking a little bit about this, but I know that Enigma and I kind of talked off camera or off show about it, but this is just showing you that like MMOs are personally, they're in a really bad spot. People are craving MMOs, especially the older style MMOs and things that are actually not just handheld. I'm gonna kind of feed you this content left and right. I really think, man, like WildStar, coming back right now would be I think it would do well. But like
you brought that up again.
Dude, Tony, you have not earned your stripes enough to fucking sit here and talk shit to me about WildStar.
So Tony, you will find he brings up WildStar every other fucking episode.
Dude,
it's literally
love that game.
Yes, I'm right there with you, man.
I do agree with you though. I will agree with you that recent MMOs and like the trend of going back to like moving back to harder,
back to the roots, kind of.
Yeah, well, not even just the roots, but going back to those games where 2-3 years ago, hell, even 5 years ago, they wouldn't have been the popular ones, are starting to become the popular ones, right? People are starting to want those hardcore experiences, those more time intensive experiences when it comes down to their MMOs, which is a complete like double standard from what they were saying previously, where they were like, we want these MMOs to respect our time more, right?
Right.
Like I don't know what shifted. I really don't know what changed.
I think a lot changed, right? I think you're talking about, the state of the world changed. You're talking about COVID change, people being in home, people want more of a connected kind of thing, right? And I mean, I'm actually, it's got me close, man. I'm really itching to try. I've been looking a lot of like at Ashes of Creation, and like that is another game that's going back to that older style MMO. And it's something that I'm interested, because people are talking about that as well. So, we'll keep an eye on this. I mean, again, right now this is in early access. It's Brighter Shores. It is free to play, obviously, or the $5 or $5.99 a month. for that. But again, early access, you can give it a try for free, see if it's something that you like. You know,
and they had player versus player scheduled for later on in the year. As far as
it's not a real game, then not yet.
It doesn't have dungeons, so
then it's definitely not an MMO. Get the fuck out of here! It's not an MMO. So, all right.
As far as I've seen, at least, obviously the people that have put more hours into it can correct me if I'm wrong. But
let's move on to Bill. You've been playing the new Zenless Zone Zero patch. I like saying that, Zenless Zone Zero.
It rolls off the tongue, right?
I'm actually excited to see what Bill's has been doing.
It does. Oh, I'm glad you put us right here, right with the anime tatas right in the face.
Mommy.
Yeah,
the mommy dummy.
I was doing us a big favor here.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Thank you, bro.
So this is Hoyo versus Gunnar game. If you're one of the Gen Z folk, that's if you go onto any of their like TikToks or any YouTube videos and stuff, like the top 10 comments are gonna be like Gunnar game XD. So
is that really a new term that we're using?
I'm just using it in the context here because it's what I'm seeing.
Whoa.
But yeah, new Zenless Zone Zero patch. They're in patch 1.3 right now. This was a minor story patch. They do minor and major story patches. Minor one every month, and then a major one like on the other month. So it's a bi-monthly kind of schedule. But the reason I wanted to bring it up was because we talked about it when it first came out, and one of the biggest critiques that I had with it was that there wasn't enough content for the game. By the time we had talked about it, within a week, I'd already cleared out the story content that was in the game. They've added a ton over the past few months. They've been very, very good about the constant stream of content in many different facets of the game. And they've been doing really good about listening to player feedback and kind of streamlining some of the things that people were saying was monotonous. When the game first launched, most of the story-based stuff was through like that TV grid system. I don't know if you guys remember that. They have removed that system from the story-based content.
That kind of sucks. I actually kind of like that system.
So it's still in there for the side content in the dungeons. The dungeons are all still TV based, but for the story content itself, it's more interactive. You walk around open areas, you interact with side characters, like more of that.
That actually
stuff.
Sounds like a better move.
Yeah, so it's a happy medium. You still have your TV stuff if you enjoy that stuff, but the story stuff for people that just want to go in, do the story stuff, and then hang the game up until the next story patch. It streamlines that process and I think makes it a little bit more enjoyable for that style audience.
Cool.
Is this is because it's Hoyoverse? I know it's a gacha game. It has to be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course.
With that being said, though, is it like with the gacha? Is it characters? Is it abilities? What
it is characters and Wingens, W engines. So that's like their special equipment stuff. So you got your roll for characters. If you don't get a character, you get a Wingen. They're these little ball things that slot into each of the characters.
Okay, cool. I'm not allowed to play this.
You're not allowed. Do you have a problem with
no. I play Honkai Star Rail and I got addicted. I can't do another gacha game. This is bad.
Gotcha.
Hoyoverse got me once. They won't get me anymore.
It's a Hoyoverse.
It's
so
fucking called gotcha for a reason, guys.
Yeah, anything that you had an issue with in any of the other Hoyoverse games, you're gonna have the same situation with the gotcha. So
it's the visuals that get you with these games, the characters. The abilities and shit, and you want
I bet
to
it's the
have
characters, Tony.
I bet it's fine.
I'm not that guy.
Tony,
so the gameplay that you're seeing
is denial, man. Just deny it and then play. You'll be fine.
So the gameplay you're seeing on the screen is from the story patch with the new S rank character, Yanagi. She is obviously on full display in this because they're wanting people to get access to her and see if they want to do pulls for her. I will say, out of the 3 Hoyoverse games that are out, I haven't gotten extensively into Honkai because Honkai didn't grab me as much as Genshin and this did.
Which surprised me because with your love of turn-based combat. And
that's what I was about to say.
Those old school CRPGs, I was really shocked.
Raid Shadow Legends wasn't that more comparable to Raid?
Kind of. Raid's a whole different beast in and of itself, but yeah, it was
Gotcha.
turn-based like Raid.
Gotcha. Yeah, I meant
I
understand.
might give
But-
this a try. No.
Honkai, I think I jumped into it too late, and I was jumping into it in the point where it was already kind of overwhelming for new characters or for new players. So I couldn't grasp like
when
the ebb and flow of a new. Huh?
When did you jump in, Bill?
I jumped in around the start of the year. I gave it a try. I can't remember exactly when.
They've already, see, if you're trying to jump into Honkai Star Rail now, there's just so much going on. It's kind of hard. And I agree. Like, this is probably why I would give Zenless Zone a try now.
Yeah.
Before they get too deep into it. And then, Yeah,
they're about 5. I think this is month 5 in right now. So it's still in a good point. They're getting to a point where there's a ton of content that you can do outside of story stuff. The 1.0 story was only about 10 hours long. They've probably got in total about 25 to 30 hours of story content now from the story patches that they've updated. And there is a ton of side stuff. And it's not just like your action combat like you were seeing there. They've got an arcade that has 3 different like unique mini games that could be their own like little mobile games in and of themselves. They've got your classic like Snake, but it's done in a battle royale style. It's Snake Battle Royale, which is interesting, and you actually play against other players. They've got a Soul Hounds arcade game where it's like you are racing people to descend to the bottom of this like Bejeweled style landscape. So if you click on tiles that are like red and of the same color, it'll eliminate all of them at the same time. Really fun there. And then they just added another one where it's kind of like Vampire Survivor, where it's an auto battler and you're collecting these characters to auto battle with your character and see how far you can go through the levels. It's all really neat on that regard. A ton of side quests. They've got 4 dungeons. They just added a 5th dungeon, which is like your end game type stuff.
It's an MMO.
Yep,
no,
absolutely.
Dungeons.
Yeah, 5 dungeons. They've got end boss raids. They're supposed to be adding co-op raids at some point, but they have not added that in yet. And I don't even know how they're going to do co-op raids.
Would be pretty interesting to see.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, Genshin did co-op raids.
Yeah, Genshin did co-op, okay, but it's not great.
Both Genshin's co-op, it limited your character. So if you had one other person in, you each controlled 2 characters. If you had 3 players in, the host got 2 characters and the other 2 players got 1. And if you had 4, everybody just got 1 character. So I don't know how they're going to do that with this, because it is a 3-character system. And the way that the combat functions, there's a heavy emphasis on swapping characters in and out, which I very much like, as opposed to Genshin, where it was kind of like, I like that way more, because Genshin's combat was like, okay, you've got your one main character, and then you only swap the other characters in and out whenever you're wanting to apply the buffs or shields or stuff, and then you go back to your main character. This one, it actively rewards you for wanting to swap around, whereas
that was my question. Okay.
Yeah, well, it does it a lot easier in this one too, because like you can combo up your abilities with the finishers and shit, right?
Yeah, so if you have an enemy stunned and do a finisher move, it'll auto cycle through your characters if you want them to, or if you don't want to and you just want to stick to your DPS, you can stick on that. If an enemy's attack is coming at you and you swap a character in, they will do a parry for you. So the whole combat system is based around like Devil May Cry style, like quick action-based combat and character swapping. So
I literally just got a Zenless Zone Zero ad.
Did you really?
on Twitter talking about this.
Question about or just kind of statement, right? Like, because I've played all of them. I've played Genshin, I've played Honkai, I've played NZZZ. To me, ZZZ feels like, I don't want to say like the step cousin. It definitely does not. And maybe I'm going to get hate. It doesn't feel as popular or seem to be as popular as like Honkai. Definitely not Genshin. I mean, I think Genshin, kind of kicked is the granddaddy of all of this. I mean, it's not a granddaddy, but it's like the one that really kicked, it off.
So I'm the only reason I understand where you're coming from. The only reason I think it is not getting as popular is because Honkai kind of got so a lot of Hoyo versus games, their characters kind of almost in the same universe sometimes. Honkai with Genshin with there's another thing for Honkai Star Rail, but Star Rail kind of got really popular after um certain characters dropped like Kafka and stuff like that. They're really deep into the story now. So I see where you're coming from, and I understand that because this isn't as talked about as the other ones.
I think it's a lot more niche than the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. One, I think that most gacha players and stuff, I don't know if there's that much of an interest in like the type of combat that Zenless Zone Zero is among gacha players, whereas I think Genshin Impact is a little bit like slower based of an action combat system. Plus, it's got the open world aspect where if you don't like the combat as much, you still have the open world traversal that you can kind of get behind. This doesn't have that really. It's really centered more in the combat being the highlight. So if you don't like the combat, you're not going to like the game.
See, most gacha games, you just sit back, like especially for Star Rail, you're able to just press a button and have the characters fight for you on.
That's because Star Rail's a
it's a
turn-based strategy. So
right,
they're completely different play styles on both of those fronts.
But most gacha games like that has that tendency of being able to just be able to be like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna let my characters do this and farm for materials while I go do something else. Yeah. This type of game, you actually have to be present to press.
Yeah, I also feel like Zenless is suffering a little bit from oversaturation, not just within like the gacha sphere, but within MiHoYo's like game base in general. This is their third gacha game out there, and their player base, if they are playing both Genshin and Honkai, do they really want to add a third gacha to their?
If you're playing Genshin, like I had a buddy, Solid Light, he was playing Genshin for a long time, and like that was like a full-time job for him. Every night he would come home, spend 4 hours doing his fucking dailies on Genshin, and that was it. That was all he fucking did every day for like 4 years.
That's dedication.
I think they're aware of that because Zenless isn't as time intensive as Honkai or Genshin. This is more of the side piece gacha of the MiHoYo games, like the Hoyoverse games, than what those two are, because it's not based around like your dailies and stuff. Yes, there are dailies, but they take literally 1 minute to do. Like literally, I can log in, do 1 minute of stuff, shut the game off if I don't feel like playing it. Most of the content in Zenless is based around weeklies and monthlies.
Yeah, Bill, let's address the elephant in the room.
Yeah,
let's address it. What's the drop rates and the pull rates? I need to know.
The drop rates and pull rates, it's the same as Genshin's, like exactly the same as Genshin's. It's 360 polychrome, which is the pull currency in this game. Per pull, every 100 pulls you get pity. If you haven't gotten a legendary by then, you'll get your pity. It's either 100 or 80.
Oh,
that's the same as.
Wasn't Genshin 100?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
No, I thought Genshin and Honkai were both 100.
Honkai, you get a it's a 50-50 on a character, and if you lose that 50-50, then you get 100% of a pull.
Okay, so it is 90. It's 90.
Okay, so.
Yeah, it's 90, and there's the 50-50 system. So the first time you get a legendary, it's a 50-50 to be the banner character. If you lose that 50-50, you're guaranteed a banner character on the next one, and it does roll over. Every 10 pulls, you're guaranteed an A rank. It's literally the same thing as Genshin.
It's the same thing as Honkai too. Okay, they kept the same system.
Yeah.
The only thing I've seen on Zenless Zone Zero recently is that stupid fucking Bernie dance video that literally everybody does a fucking TikTok reel or a YouTube short of them doing. I'm just like, shut the fuck up.
Listen, that video was a banger, dude. That video was a banger.
I'm not saying it wasn't. It's just it was a banger like 4 weeks ago.
But closing statements with this, though. I feel like Zenless is in a really good spot to pick it up if you felt like there wasn't enough content. Initially, there is plenty of content now with the game that I think new players shouldn't have a lack of stuff to do for a decent amount of time. And it's at a casual enough pace with it not being daily based that you can kind of slow grind through it and not really feel the need unless you're grinding for polychrome for pulls, which is what I've been doing because I am thoroughly addicted to this game. And it's not just because of the anime assets.
Yeah,
Not
I like what you did there.
hashtag not a Gooner game.
Well
Not a
done.
good game.
sure.
All right. Well, there you go. That is ZZZ. I've actually been able to pull myself away from the gacha games and haven't had that itch to come back yet. So
those games are really dangerous for whales. So
yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. I haven't whaled in a long time, man.
It's super free to play friendly.
I'm sure, but I
have heard it is. Yeah.
I haven't
Yes, I haven't.
whaled in a minute.
Yeah,
so.
but still, free to play friendly as a whale. That's
it's
that's no different. That's really
dangerous. All right, so moving on to a game that I've been playing. Actually, well, I just played it right before the podcast. It literally came out today. I wanted to grab some footage of it. It is called Atomic Picnic. So full transparency, just for everybody out there and making sure we cover our bases. This was created by obviously OTK. I work for a subsidiary of OTK. And so I'm putting it out there. Yes, I got the game for free. But that is not by any way, shape, or form altering my opinion on this game.
I would hope not. You had some gaming journalist looking gameplay there for a second.
If you got it from OTK, they should have taught you how to jump.
Yeah, dude. So there's a couple
that was
things.
Some Cuphead level shit right there.
Let's talk a little bit about the game, right? So what Atomic Picnic is, and kind of what you're seeing here is obviously, this is the tutorial start mode. I will say that it's in early access, but this part specifically, it doesn't it kind of throws you in, and it puts this stuff on here being like, hey, dude, this is how you do it, but it doesn't teach you very well, in that sense. It's not.
The yellow paint's not helping you get there.
It's not about the yellow paint because you guys can give me shit all you want, but what I'm telling you is in this, it's oh, hey, go and basically you get a double jump, but you only get a double jump based off of the grapple, but it doesn't tell you that the grapple is the thing that is over on the left hand side or right hand side that is on a timer, because that is your shift button, which is your dash. So your dash and your double jump are all part of the same move. But you're not grappling to you can't grapple to a rock and then grapple to something else. It's just weird. Anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on that because what I want to talk about is the game itself is a cross between Risk of Rain 2 and Vampire Survivors. And so and it is a co-op base game. You load into a section or arena. And basically you have your character and you're shooting you're gathering these crystals. You've got fast reload. You're going to have roguelike elements that pop up that allow you to boost your character in a different way, for that run. Doing different abilities, whenever you reload, you're going to get a sound wave that's going to happen. I'm going to fast forward here a little bit so we can get into kind of some of the further gameplay, but you're essentially just again, playing Vampire Survivors or playing Risk of Rain, right? You're going for as long as you can, trying to complete the run. You get different elements that show up where you can these rare spawns that add something to the quote unquote picnic, where you can go in and lower your cooldown, or there's a jukebox that you have to defend. Art style, music, game, it feels really good. It plays really well. I've not had any kind of issues whatsoever. Again, I've only played about maybe an hour of it or so. But it's very responsive. It doesn't feel super as chaotic as it may seem on screen. It actually feels pretty good. When you're doing anything, the only thing I would complain about is maybe the UI for the reload. It kind of blends in a lot. So when you're trying to reload, you may miss the active reload system on it, but you're kind of seeing there where you get these different elements that you can make your character better. One of them is a teapot that whenever you reload, it does a shockwave around you. One of them may be whenever you dash, you leave fire behind you. And a lot of different kind of movement abilities, making it vertical as well as horizontal. Enigma, I know you popped in and saw a little bit of it. I'd love to know your kind of thoughts on what you saw.
No, like right off the bat, as soon as I came in, I was like, bro, this reminds me extremely heavily of Risk of Rain meets like just like you said, like Vampire Survivors or that genre in general. And it looked good. I mean, I like the art style. I like the way that the combat did. I do agree with you. The combat did look like it felt pretty smooth. My only question was like, is there a decent amount of like abilities and like the ability modifiers that you get, or is it very basic? Have you run into like a large variety of those powers that you can get?
I mean, kind of what you're seeing here, right, is you're still like there's different characters. Characters have different guns. And then you have different.
That makes sense for the Risk of Rain.
Yeah, different like abilities and things. You have different gear impulses that you can use. Like one of them, like there was like a grenade. And then on top of that, you upgrade your character's stats. So like there's a whole stat kind of build that you can then build your character out to where they do like more crit damage and all of those types of things. So yes, I mean, again, it's still very early. It's still early access. So I don't think there's like just in a massive amount. Like don't go in expecting that you're going to get like 40 different characters and 200 different abilities, right? Think about like when Risk of Rain 2 originally dropped.
Sure. Yeah.
That's kind of like what you're getting at. What I love about the game is go ahead.
I was about to say it seemed like you were able to make some pretty decent builds. Like it seemed like it had enough of a variety that you could make like distinctive builds between the two. I think I saw you play 2 different builds. I don't know how far along you were when I came in or not, but
yeah, I mean, I was playing. So, you caught me on my second map that I was playing on. And just in those 2 maps that I was playing, 2 completely different builds. I mean, you have some cards that do show up, or
of course,
I think they're called Curios, like Curio. That show up that are similar, but like one of them, I got a Gatling gun. And I think what the game kind of does is it senses kind of like how you're playing and what you're choosing, and then starts to feed you some options that maybe like synergize really, really well. So there's obviously the roguelike element with that, but I think it also kind of tries to help you out, saying like, oh, you just got the minigun aspect. So now we're going to give you something that says like, hey, the longer that you're holding down without, shooting without, reloading, then you're going to do more damage. Well, obviously with the minigun, it's just, you basically hold the trigger down and then you're just shooting. And, so
this is like Hades. I'm getting Hades, not the top down, but in certain ways, Hades.
I would more Risk of Rain. Risk of Rain and Hades have a similar system with like getting pickups. You have choices to do, and then those kind of culminate into like OP builds and whatnot.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
I do reckon. I mean, Risk of Rain 2, for sure, is very, very close to this. Like the Hades element. I mean, I could maybe see with like the card stuff, but like if you played Risk of Rain 2, you'd be like, oh yeah, this feels like this is Risk of Rain 2. Like feels very, very close to it. Enemy variety is really cool. Like even just like again, the 2 maps that I played, like I was dealing with like these little guys that were floating, things that were popping up, snakes that were shooting things at me, like just all these different kind of things. And it just hits, man. Like it gives you the dopamine hits that like I even think that like as much as I love Risk of Rain 2, that Risk of Rain 2 missed out on, right? Like the flashiness, the colors, the different, like the sound, the beat, like there's so many things that this is just like really just giving you and hitting on. Especially I think coming off of like talking about a gacha game, like not that this is gacha in any way, shape or form, right? But like there are the visual elements of it. There's a lot of things that like that you look at this and go, oh yeah, this I could get some of those elements of why like people like the visual elements of gacha or Genshin or ZZZ.
Without the assets.
Without the assets.
Does it have a similar difficulty scale as Risk of Rain does, or how does like how hard does it get like as you progress?
Does it get harder the longer you're in the?
So I definitely was. At first I was like, wow, this seems really easy. And
because it looks like that, but I can kind of tell by the enemy type and variety,
it
like
will get crazy.
It gets crazy.
At first, like I was just like, oh, this is simple. Like, I'm kind of dodging everything. And I'm keeping everything in these like 2 little corridors. very quickly the game starts to elevate and escalate.
Game was like, okay.
Yeah, especially as like you're leveling up.
Tutorial was over.
Yeah, so you do have objectives for each picnic that you go on. This one was like reach level 10, right? And you do that by obviously killing enemies and grabbing spheres.
Is that like just the beginner like kind of starter?
I think so. Again, I'm not
Some
super
games
far
do that,
into it. Yeah,
where it's like just a one time only, like your
I'm
first
sure
run.
that they will add endless modes into it.
Yeah.
And kind of continue to add different variation of game modes. One of the things I like, it's got co-op right out of the bat. So
that is cool.
That's dope.
Yep.
Yeah.
So online co-op, experiencing with a friend.
I'd really love to
see what it's like.
Yeah, I was about to say the only downside that I can see to that is like for an early access game, I'm not like, how much content is there actually? Do you think?
I mean, it's the game's $20. I think that you could get.
Do you think that's a fair price?
Yes. Again, I've not spent enough time with it to be able to really shell out and say like, hey, like there is a good enough for 20. I don't think, like, to me, I've always said that like $20 is kind of that sweet spot for games.
Yeah, it's not bad, especially for this style of game where it's like Risk of Rain meets like
pretty common,
like you said. Yeah, it's a very common price tag for those types of games. So I'm just curious, based off of like how much content there would it be worth the $20? Like, are you going to get a decent amount of content?
I think that you could get enough fun out of the game. Again, is this something that you just sit down, mainline it, and what? Like, no, right? Like, this is
how many characters are there?
Right now, I believe there's 4 or 5 that you can unlock.
It's not bad. It's not too terrible.
And then again, each one of those characters then has their own skill trees that you're unlocking. You're able to then dump also more and more into your like gadgets and change those up. You're also able to there's this thing called a memento grid that pops up whenever you're done with a mission or picnic, and inside that, like, there's like, I mean, that's pretty large. Like, that is a very large grid. And like, you unlock different things, and based off of what those unlock, like, you're able to then grow a character even more. So
are those character specific, or are they like account specific?
What, the mementos?
Yeah,
the mementos are account specific.
They're account wide. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
On there again, I think if you're a fan of the games that are like, hey, I want to go in, I just want to shoot shit, or I want to kill shit, I want to level my character, I want to see the number go up or whatever else, and then you want like more of a free roam shooter like this, I like more than I would like the original Vampire Survivors. Don't get me wrong, like, I love Vampire Survivors, but like, I like the freedom that this gives, the verticality this gives, the shooting, all that kind of stuff.
I'm just trying to figure out a reason why I would ever pick this over Risk of Rain 2. Like, to be honest with you, like, it looks fine, it looks passable if Risk of Rain 2 didn't exist, but I'm just don't see any spots right now where this excels enough over Risk of Rain 2 for me not to just go for the established. And
I'm kind of with you there, Bill. I don't know, because like I can't tell either.
Everything I'm seeing looks like it's just, I don't want to say a rip of Risk of Rain 2, because they are adding new mechanics and stuff like that to it, but it doesn't feel like it differentiates enough to be able to pull from Risk of Rain 2's market in at all, or even coexist beside of it, just because it's so samey.
So as someone that has spent a decent amount of time in Risk of Rain 2, obviously I've not dumped as much as like Scruffy or anybody like that, right? I can tell you that I would say, like, watching it and looking at it, at least on a podcast where there's no audio, you're not really getting the feel for it. I would say, okay, cool, I get that. But really, when you're playing it, like, you do get to a point, I am more drawn to this. I don't know. I think, like, don't get me wrong, like, Risk of Rain 2 is great, but there's something about this hits really, really well. And what it does extremely, extremely well. And it's a lot of fun. And
that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not shitting on Risk of Rain 2 at all. I definitely understand your point of saying, like, hey, like, this is very, reminiscent of Risk of Rain, and that style. I don't, I'm gonna put more time into it. You know, and I can give you kind of a better, but I think for $20, I think you're gonna get if you like Risk of Rain 2, you've played Risk of Rain 2, you know, you're done with it or whatever else, you put it down. You like these types of games. I think it's a well $20 spent. I don't think that you're gonna be upset with it. It sounds great, it plays great, it feels great, runs great. I mean, it really is, and it's only gonna continue to get better. You know, with that. So
okay.
Yeah,
fair enough.
And this is level based. Like it's not like each map is like a new level, right? Or
yeah, so you have different zones you go into. That correct. Okay. You know, and I wish I could find like an area. Let me see if I can get back to like if I die, I can kind of show you like where you end up going. But you end up coming back to like this hub zone. Here's the Mementos thing that I was telling you about. But you end up going back to a hub zone. The hub zone's actually pretty large, so I really think that they're gonna add quite a bit of, this is the hub zone. They're gonna add quite a bit of stuff to like what you're able to do and like what all of these things are. So that gives me a lot of hope for like what the game can you know potentially be.
Yeah.
I think that they know that they are going against Risk of Rain, and obviously, you know, they need to do something.
Hub zone's kind of cool. That does change it up a little bit from Risk.
I think the biggest thing that this has over Risk of Rain is just like you're saying, the hub zone. They are adding in certain aspects of popular games that like the hub zone is something that everybody wants, especially on a co-op
the
game.
Curio system being like
the
that,
Curio system is definitely
kind of style.
The Curio system is definitely a different version, as well as just like the Vampire Survivors aspects of it, where like as you're going through, and granted, Risk of Rain has that to an extent, right?
It's like, different,
it is very different from this, and that's I think that's
you
where
pick up the coins and then you kind of choose what you want to use them for, instead of it like being every level you get a pop up.
A little more RNG in some instances, but also in some instances, you can control it too if you know Risk of Rain, but still,
for sure.
I don't know. I think the only thing I will disagree on with you, Bill, is I also probably I am more drawn to Risk of Rain, but I do think there's a chance for them to coexist. I think they do differentiate themselves just enough and give it that bit of a twist that if you don't want something, I think as hardcore as Risk of Rain can be, this is the more relaxed shooter.
You also got to remember, Risk of Rain has been out for 5 years.
That was I was going to bring that up as well. Risk of Rain 2 has been out for a while. Gearbox.
It's been out for a while, you know.
Honestly, they probably did the best timing possible they could with Gearbox taking over Risk of Rain 2 and kind of pissing off the player base. So they might be looking to jump ship, and this might be a good place for them.
I'm telling you, man, it feels good. It feels really good. Like I actually said it on the or on the stream. I was like, this actually came out at a really great time right now. Like I've got Dragon Age, you know, obviously I'm playing. I've got Silent Hill 2, which before we go to your thing, Tony, I wanted to take a second to talk about fucking Silent Hill 2.
Oh God.
But yeah, I was like, dude, this is perfect. Like, this is a stopgap right now where I can jump in. It's not super going to take up a lot of my time. I can play this game for a little bit until Path of Exile 2 Marvel Rivals comes out. Like, I think that is what this game is, right? Like, this is not something that, and maybe it is something where there's a shit ton of secrets. You're gonna like, but it's just a fun game. $20. You know, so, I think it's worth it.
Wait. So once you complete a level, can you like go back to your hub, or is it constant? You have to keep going until you die?
Once you complete your objective, it sends you back to your hub, I believe.
So there's a difference, because Risk of Rain is a commitment when you go into a whatever, you know what I mean?
You're there until you finish the entire thing or you die.
Yeah. This is a bit more jump in, jump out then.
So the only complaints that are like, not even really complaint, just like the only observation that I can personally see in comparison to like what you have with Risk of Rain, this feels really close up to your character, whereas like if I'm not mistaken, Risk of Rain, you can get way far back, and that's the only downside that I could see for me, at least, is like you've got so much going on around you in a lot of instances that like I would have trouble trying to just keep track of everything without being that far out.
At first I was like, yes, but when you start to synergize all these movement stuff that you're doing, you really don't.
And like, once you get like AOEs, once you start building up like AOE abilities and everything like that, you're not going to have to worry about it as much. But like
you don't, it very much and very quickly goes away. Like that fear of like, oh shit,
that's, like, you know, that's just like my original my like introductory like observations of it was like, man, you're really close to your character for this style of game. That feels weird.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it works.
Do you have an active reload? Is that what I see?
Yeah, the little box
Okay.
you active reload, and if you and then there's
Oh,
abilities
okay.
that if you active reload, you will do more something or whatever
cool.
else.
That's
You
actually
you
pretty
have
dope.
like curse things that'll like drop your health but up your damage, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah,
Gotcha.
Dope.
Nice.
20 bucks. What's
yeah,
it called
20
again?
bucks, Atomic Picnic.
Atomic
And it's
Picnic.
on Steam. Is it
Steam.
on?
It is on Steam. I don't know if it's
is it
on
on? Is it on
anywhere
consoles
else.
or anything like that?
Yeah, I don't know if it was on anywhere anywhere else. I could take a look. Give me 1 sec, and we will.
I got
check
you.
and
I
see.
got
It
you.
is
Yeah, well,
only on Steam.
Okay. While okay, great. Well, we got that answered. Before we jump into Fortnite, right? Tony and talking about Fortnite, I just want to take a second because this is a topic that Enigma
Give
and
me
I.
more than a second.
It's not gonna take too long, but it's a topic that Enigma and I have kind of butt heads on a little bit. Shocker, right? But as you know, I'm playing through Silent Hill 2, and I'm only playing that game on stream and going through it. And as a fan of the old game and have played the old game, and now playing the remake, I am getting to a point, and I'm also not alone in this statement because if you look this up, it's actually quite a bit of people that are saying the same thing. They added content into the game, an additional, I think we said 10 hours was added to it. I actually think that is bad. I think that them
Is
actually
it fluff?
it's yeah, I mean, yes, but like here's the thing, okay? And spoiler real quick. So for anybody that's playing Silent Hill 2, just mute for a minute. Like I'm going to be talking about some of the later stuff in the game. I'm not going to go in super deep, but like I'm going to talk about some not plot points, but just things that happen. So countdown 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So once you get past the hospital, right, and you've seen Pyramid Head, shit's kind of going sideways. You're realizing what's happening. Everything is starting to degrade, right? Everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about if you've played Silent Hill. It now like it's like, oh, hey, by the way, now you need to go to the society area. Or the historical society district or whatever the fuck it's called, or home. You go there and now you're there. Then it's like, oh, now we're going to take you and we're going to go into the labyrinth. And then you're going from the labyrinth and you got to go to another desolate area. And that's 2.5 hours. Then we're going to go to another area. That's another 2.5 hours. Then we're going to go to the final area. That's another 1.5 hours. And it's like, it has now gotten to the point where like with Guardians of the Galaxy, where you're just like, dude, this needs to be done. And Tony, I think you played Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Oh my God.
Right?
Yo,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was really bad. Like I thought like, don't get me wrong. I love a game that gives me content. Don't get me wrong. I love it. It's fine.
But it overstays
Guardians
its
of-
welcome.
Guardians of the Galaxy, when it should have ended, it went for another like 3 or 4 hours. And I was just
And
like,
that's
well,
what this
holy
is
hell,
doing.
what the
That's
fuck?
what this
What
is
the
doing.
hell?
It literally is like especially because it's a remake, you're kind of it's like where this is supposed to stop. And then you're like, oh, this is the additional content. But to me, I would have much rather them just been like, hey, we're going to give you this additional content and you can choose to play it if you want to or not. Like these are the extra cutting room floors. I just kind of want to get a scale of what everybody else feels like. Because
I played the original like maybe honestly like 2 or 3 times. I don't think I've ever completed it though. Did the original do the same thing or is this completely new to the remake?
The original was
content.
Yeah, the original was
content,
like concise. It kind of knew like the pacing was perfect. Right. All the way up until you can tell drastically when they were just like, oh, new content, shove it in. Right. And now it's like, doesn't feel right.
How long have you been playing? Like what's your play time right now?
I'm at almost 15 hours right now. So, and the original game is 10,
Yeah.
and
So
then,
15 hours is the upper end for a survival horror, in my opinion.
Definitely.
Right. But at the same time, you have to also understand they couldn't get away with charging you a full price tag for.
I mean, it could.
You get what I'm saying?
They did it with Dead Space.
But it would have.
They did it with
They
Dead
would have
Space.
got.
They did it with Demon's Souls.
But see, here's the thing. For the older game, you get what I'm saying? The older game being 10 hours, it took you probably longer than 10 hours just due to it being an older game. And remember how you play Resident Evil and you fuck up because of the simple fact is the cameras.
Yeah, camera angles. I mean, I get that, but
now the camera's better and they wanted to add a little bit more. And I understand your gripe with like, yo, that's you add a little too much to it. The original would have been better, but I think it really had to do with price point. Like Just my opinion.
I can understand that a little bit. Final Fantasy VII remake and rebirth have a similar issue where there's a lot of additional fluff content that is padding out the length of the game, considering that they were trying to make like a tutorial section and an intro
Right.
section like a full game experience. This isn't like, it's not a one-to-one comparison because Silent Hill 2 was a completed game that they have remade. But I can
However-
understand them trying to flesh out a little bit
I mean,
more runtime from it. But
This is
I
like
get-
did it need it? Probably not. Is it hurting the game? Depending on who you ask, probably. I can understand where the
hurting
additional
Sim.
time can hurt people.
I mean, here's the thing: is they
Yeah.
literally killed off a character, and then brought that character back, like, and
So
and
the
I
kill off was pointless.
well, right, and I get the point of the kill off. I understand bringing them back, right? Like you're talking about the delusional mind of like losing your shit in this city, whatever else. But like, it's becoming a point where you're just like, okay, like you were dead and now you're back, but you're back for no fucking reason. And
Right.
you know, I know all of the lovers of Silent Hill are gonna be like, well, there's plot point. I'm like, I get it. I'm a lover of this game, but it is definitely to
gotta-
that point where it's like this needs to be done. And the fact that
We
I
gotta
literally
deal with that.
I had to look up and go, oh my god, I've got 5 more additional hours of this shit if I play it at this pacing. I'm literally like, I don't know if
But
I
see,
can do it.
You got to be a little
So-
careful with that though, because if we go down that road, now we're bitching about not having having
Yeah,
too much in a
that's
game. You get what I'm saying?
that's what I was gonna say is like we've bitched about games not having enough content in the past, and I get where you're coming from, and I completely understand. I agree with you on Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy, when it should have ended, the thing with Guardians of the Galaxy is like at a certain point you can tell that was the end point for the game, right?
It was supposed
And
to
like
be. You could tell, yeah.
then they extended past, and I get where you're coming from with this one, where it's like that. It's the same instance. Like there was a definitive endpoint, and then they added on content after it. My point was, at least the other night, I wasn't even disagreeing with you that it's long. The other night you were like, oh man, I've got literally got an hour left of this fucking game. I'm gonna quit right now. I'm like, dude, you have an hour left and you're
It's-
gonna
but
fucking
it's-
quit?
You're also talking about a game that that I would say in normal circumstances, absolutely. But that when in a game specifically that puts you in a tense moment, it's it's a survival horror. You know, it is a creepy game. There's sounds going like
Yeah.
the jump scares or whatever.
I
It puts
get
you in that tense
but
moment where
it's
you're just
an
kind of like,
hour.
motherfucker, bro. But it's not. But I thought it was an hour. It's not. It's actually like 5 hours. Like that's
Well.
that's the part where I'm just kind of like, maybe
Well,
this.
and the other thing that I have to say about that is like correct me if I'm wrong, but from everything that I've heard and from what I've been watching, like you were doing everything. You're
I mean, I
trying
missed-
to you're
Are
trying
you
to
still
like get
going around
everything.
breaking every window?
No,
Yeah, he
no.
was.
Like, I did that
You
at
were
first,
you were
but I
still
did it at
breaking
first.
windows.
No, like I'm playing it through the normal, like a normal scale. Like yes, like I'm obviously like getting, if there are secrets that I can try to get to or find. Like yes, like I'm
Yeah.
I'm doing those. But like the game, like here. But again, here's the thing: at the beginning of the game, in the normal game, those secrets are like, hey, you're going out to seek them. It's side stuff that you don't necessarily have to do. But now that's all been drained away because this is all additional content. And now it's just basically a very straight, narrow path. It's very force fed of what you're trying to do and what you're doing. And it doesn't fit. Like this should have been, again, I agree with the additional content, but this should have been like, hey, we're going to give you the remake. You're going to buy it. And then we're going to drop DLC maybe in a month or two to give you the additional content. Or kind of do like what Resident Evil 4 remake did.
I don't agree with that because
I don't
like
know,
if they're
man.
going to that is going down a very, very dangerous route of, hey, we're going to remove content that we actually meant to release with the full game,
No,
and then we're
I'm
going to charge
saying,
you for it
I'm
later.
talking on a remake though. I'm
Not
saying
like
like you
free
release the
DLC.
remake and then you release the extra content that you were having or whatever. I'm just saying Resident Evil 4 or remake did a better job, in my opinion, of this. Like, I did not hear anybody bitching about, oh, this game's too long. I'm getting to a point where this just feels like fluff or whatever else. I don't know. Bill, I mean, you played it. Did you feel at that point that there was a fluff point?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, But
So-
I'm with Enigma to the point. Like I don't want to be too hypercritical of developers trying to give a little extra
Giving you
to
more
things.
content.
Mhm,
Yeah.
giving you
Yeah,
more
because-
content, right?
Like with the Final Fantasy 7 and Rebirth stuff. That's the best comparison because I have the most time with those two games in particular. Or is it my favorite parts of the game that they fluffed up? No, but I enjoy the game enough that I'm glad that it's there, and I think that
Yeah.
I would have been more disappointed with a shorter runtime than I would be with this. It's the same kind of thing with Dead Space, where the fluff point was the going back and unlocking all of the master lock doors, like all the tier 5 doors, like
Yes.
them giving you full run of the ship, and then you kind of being able to go back and get all of the top tier upgrades for your weapon by retraversing the ship. Yes, it's monotonous to go back to old areas, but it's something else to do on top of the original experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But that's
I-
more
I will-
optional, right? That
I
I don't. Is this case? Is it optional? Like
no,
things.
no, this
No,
is you.
this
No,
is-
you
yeah,
have
no,
to
this
play
is
it. You have to
forced,
do
yeah.
it to finish.
So-
the
that,
game.
that was
that
what
is-
that was what I was gonna say. Is like
Yeah.
it would have been better if they would have given you the option to be like, hey, do you want to play the extended version or do you want to play the original version?
Sure,
I
I'm
can
down
I
for
can, I
that.
can I can agree with you there. Yeah, I could agree
Yeah,
with you there.
fair
Not
enough.
everybody wants to see the new content, but at least give people the option. But like I said, like complaining about developers giving us more content is a very slippery
No,
slope
again,
because then they're
don't-
going to
I'm
be
not-
like,
I'm not complaining that they gave me more content. I'm just complaining in the content, the way that they delivered it, and how it just. I don't know. It could have been done in a different way. This feels like a slog, where it could have felt very like I think good, and I don't know. So we've already spent more time than I wanted to on that, but it is just something that I wanted to bring up because.
Just
It'll
a
be
minute,
just
man.
like a
Just
couple minute
It's
talk.
okay.
Yeah, a couple minute talk. All right.
I just last thing I also think you're like hyper focusing on it, and I think it's making it even worse because like I was watching you the other night and it was like every 10 seconds you were like, how much further do I fucking gotta
Dude,
go?
that's because that's
Oh.
where this game is like. This is a love game for me. I love Silent Hill 2, but when I'm having to be like motherfucker, bro, oh my god, like I'm skipping puzzles. I'm literally
I'm just
looking up
like-
just so I can be like, I can get done with this shit. That's a problem.
That's why I kept being like, dude, just fucking play the game.
Yeah,
Quit
yeah.
bitching about it.
I
Just
get
play
it.
the fucking
I
game.
get it, but I'm ready to be done with it. It's the same thing with
Yeah.
Guardians, dude. I was ready to be fucking done with Guardians.
It's understandable.
Yeah,
I
I'm
get
not
it.
gonna blame
I
you.
get it.
Guardians was
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Fortnite, Tony.
Let's talk about another fucking game that gives you more content than it actually
Yeah.
probably should. No,
Yeah.
Okay, so
new-
with this
new-
new season in
yeah, new
Fortnite,
season.
this new season is Chapter 2 remix. So basically, this Chapter 2 remix is incorporating. They went back to the musical thing that they did with, I believe it was Travis Scott. I wasn't around for that one. So now Snoop Dogg is in the game. Eminem is in the game.
Of course he
and
is.
They
Of course he is.
plan on Snoop is in everything, bro. You can't stop that.
I can't
That's
even be
just-
mad
Yeah.
about Snoop being in. Like Snoop's awesome. So
of
Right.
course he is. Yeah,
So
he's
Snoop
gotta
Dogg's in the game, Eminem is in the game, and now they're planning to actually incorporate. They're gonna put Juice WRLD in there as well.
I
be.
thought you-
When's Taylor Swift coming? That's what.
No. So no Taylor Swift. Oh, actually, I forgot. They also incorporate
Ice Spice, right?
Ice Spice
Ice
as well.
Spice,
Ice Spice
yeah.
will be coming
Again,
as
because
well.
why not? You know.
I mean, listen, you say this right, but
Oh god.
but Fortnite is one of the top BRs
I'm not
out
arguing
there.
that.
there.
Yeah.
Right?
I
Like
would
they
argue.
because they always have something fresh.
It's not one of the
always
top.
something
It is
different.
the top.
is.
It is the
other
top
than
BR,
maybe PUBG.
Like they always got something fresh, always something different. I'm enjoying this season a lot more than last season and the season before that with the goddamn
You got
twisted
it.
metal parts.
Something you got to realize with me, Tony, and you'll realize it very quickly. I give zero fucks about Fortnite.
It's fine. It's fine. I understand. Like, listen, I play all BRs. I don't discriminate. And I
Yeah,
actually
you do.
really like
I'm
Fortnite.
glad we got a Fortnite player because we can actually
Like,
cover it. Because I don't
yeah.
give zero shit.
Listen, man,
But-
I'm interested in Fortnite, but I've became less interested as it's gone on and on. Mainly
It's
because of all
gonna
the
continue to
ridiculous
go on and on. It's
shit
never
that they
gonna
add
stop, bro.
and take away and add
That
and
is-
take away.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
one of the biggest
too
complaints that I
much.
have. It's it's brain
you-
rot.
yeah.
It
You
feels
say-
like brain rot after a certain extent to me. But
You say ad takeaway, but the launcher is so huge now to the point where if you feel like they took something away, you can go and find a game where you can actually find that particular
because
weapon.
it's got
that
customs,
particular-
right?
Yeah, you got
Yeah,
customs.
right.
You
Yeah.
can you
But
can
it-
still play that. It doesn't
I've
take away from
tried
the
the
game.
customs in the past, and they're less polished products always though.
Fair enough.
Um,
It depends on the creator and who you
So,
find actually make
yeah.
whatever.
So what's going on with this season? What are they bringing back? What's new?
This season they brought back a couple of things. They brought back the boogie bombs. They got the pump shotgun, the tactical shotgun, dual pistols.
Okay.
They got
Tony,
C4.
So the golden
Tony,
age, the golden age,
The
of Fortnite.
golden age of all of the Fortnite
To-
weapons that a lot of people did
Yeah.
love. Yes.
Tony, treat me like I'm you when I was asking questions about, or when you were asking questions about
Okay,
what the fuck
gun go.
RuneScape
They,
is,
they
'cause
added
I
one
have
gun to
no
go boom
clue
boom, and one
what
gun to
a
go
boogie
bang
bomb
bang.
is. I have no fucking idea.
The
What-
original guns.
I don't
the
know
boogie
what
bomb
you
makes
asked,
you
you
dance.
All right. But what I really love
actually
about
think the
this
boogie
season-
bomb is kind of sick in this one because doesn't it make you do
The
the
Snoop Dogg, yeah.
yeah.
So Snoop Dogg's music plays when you hit people with a boogie bomb now.
Yeah.
Like Snoop Dogg.
Cool. What? I still
Like,
don't know what a
It's-
boogie bomb
it's a
is.
stun
It makes
grenade.
you
It's a
It's
dance.
boogie
a-
bomb.
Yeah.
It's a stun grenade. It makes you
Okay,
dance.
okay,
It makes you
Yeah.
dance.
okay.
And while you're dancing, I'm shooting you in the face.
What
Okay,
So
the
you
fuck
know,
is
okay.
that monkey?
I'm
You don't wanna know,
shaking them
bro.
down. I'm shaking them down. So yeah, they brought
Slapping it.
shakedowns into the game. So now you can actually shake the person down. This is so great. Shake the
Oh,
person
that's,
down and cause them to give away the
to-
position of their teammates.
They
So-
took that from Warzone actually. So
yeah,
there
yeah,
you
of
go.
course,
I mean,
of course.
that
So,
or
but
I mean, they all take from each other.
Listen,
yeah.
listen,
Yeah,
they
Siege, also say
incorporate,
Siege.
they incorporate everything into their game and they make it better.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I don't know necessarily about better.
But I love this season because they brought back snipers. Snipers were missing from the prior season, and from the prior season.
Like, were they gone
Um,
all together, or were they just not good?
They took them completely out. Snipers
some
were not. People were
bullshit.
Did they-
complaining about
Did they
getting
take them
shot,
out
so
because they weren't balanced well,
N-
or
no, they're balanced. It's just
I don't.
when you have
Yes and
sweaty
no.
players and you get
They become
headshotted, it's a one shot.
unbalanced.
Yeah, they can become
Snipers-
unbalanced.
Snipers are
Sniper-
always a gray area
that's
in video
why
games.
I
You can
asked the
never
question
truly
because
balance
it's
them.
rough to do that. Yeah.
They were balanced from what I understood. It's just like I played ranked, I played it all, so it wasn't really, in my opinion, that bad. But
Right.
the game has gotten better. This season is awesome, man. When I say it's really good, I've been playing this nonstop for the past couple of days since the second.
Hell yeah.
They released on the second. The season ends, I believe. This particular season ends in December the 1st. That's when the battle pass at least ends for from what I understand.
Did you just mug Jigsaw?
Yeah, I did. I just took
Real-
yeah,
So
none.
that's,
Real
that's what
quick.
Fortnite creates.
Real quick though, that right there. So it is super crucial to point out that you can sit here and you can talk about Fortnite being dumb. You talk about whether you like it or not, whatever, all the goofiness. This game has transcended beyond
What it
video
originally
games.
was.
Well, it's
Yes.
transcended
Oh,
video
yeah.
games. It is now a pop culture. It is what the
Very fair.
metaverse wanted to be. It is what the fact that, like you just said, this dude just shook down fucking Jigsaw while defending Snoop Dogg from getting shot by Ariana Grande
Yeah.
while Peter Griffin is flying in on a fucking Deadpool unicorn.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
it's all
and not just that, but it's revolutionized a lot of what live service and popular games are now today because of what they've done with just even the live events. They've started something with these like crazy, super blown out of proportion live events that like everyone is and their mother are there for because you don't want to miss that.
and also in a
It's
game,
it really is a lot
in a
crazy.
game that normally, like, if you were to take the content, I mean, you look at Activision, they're by far they have way more money than what Epic does. And they can't get Warzone to do what Fortnite does, right? So whether you like Epic or not, the game runs well. It fucking performs. I mean,
They're killing
season
it, bro.
after season after season. You know what I mean? Like it's just
They're
it's
killing
it's just going to continue to
Um,
get better.
So what I've really loved about this season is they're adding things as time goes on. So in the second, when the season first released, Snoop Dogg had his own compound, which is still in the game. He had his own compound. So you go to his compound, and if you defeat him in the vault and everything else, he gives you his gun, which you can see that I'm shooting the drum gun, the Tommy gun.
A Tommy gun.
And then he joins your team or whatnot. He gives you a hug and you kind of dance it out, and he joins your team.
Hell yeah.
So with that being said, now 2 days later they added Eminem, and with Eminem being and his drop point is called Mom Spaghetti or something like that. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
drop
it's his
there,
restaurant.
and it's his restaurant. You drop there, and now with that being said, his minigun is the sickest shit I've ever played within this game. Just when you pick it up, the song plays just a little snippet of I'm beginning to feel like a rap god, and then when you shoot it, he's just rapping every fucking lyric.
Yeah, it is.
It is
actually
one of
really
the
That's-
cool.
that's
best
sick.
guns I've
Yeah.
ever
And the gun
played
raps,
within
right?
this
Like the
game.
gu- the
And
like
gun
words,
raps.
the
Yeah,
words are
yeah.
coming
Yeah,
up
the
off
words
gun.
just spit out the
Yeah, the
spit out the
lyrics pop
gun, and
out,
you can
yeah.
hear Eminem just going in. And when I saw that, I was just like, bro, that's big brain. Whoever came up with that concept, you
I don't
did
know
a
about
good
big
fucking
brain.
job. Nah, that was
No,
good, bro.
it's some kind of brain, but
It's-
Don't worry,
it's-
Tony. I
so
won't yuck
good.
your
You
yum.
you can hate on it.
It's so
that's fine,
good,
but
bro. I love it. Like,
It's
it's
just-
brain rot. Maybe I don't know about big brain, but
he hates
yes,
it, but
maybe
I
a lot
love
of what
this game.
Fortnite does, but you can't deny Fortnite just sets up and creates these just fun, stupid moments that like you have
that you
people
can
like
have
us
with your
talking
friends,
about, like, you know,
bro.
like
You just get a couple of people to play this game together, and just the little shit that you can like. If you're a streamer, you can make plenty of content off of this game alone, just due to the fact there's so many memorable moments and the
Right.
shit that happens in the game. It's just great. But the season is out now. I don't know. Like I said, the battle pass ends, I believe, December the 1st. There's new POIs that's available. Got you. New POIs available to actually like drop in and see as well. Yeah, if you love Fortnite, or you like, the new season has dropped November the 2nd. I believe it ends. The remix at least ends December the 1st.
Well, question. So you're obviously playing on the regular just team deathmatch or like regular BR mode, right?
Mhm.
And
So
whatnot.
BR no build.
BR
I
no
don't
build.
play
Yeah,
build.
yeah.
I don't play
But I
build.
also saw, since now we're kind of transitioning into the news segment. Fortnite, the OG map, I guess, is returning permanently in December. Now, is this coming? Is this going to be like the build mode or no build mode, or
So
is this
from
just
what I understand, this will
both.
be a whole separate mode that you can
Yeah.
choose, like reload. So reload is a mode where there's
it's resurgence.
it's the resurgence. Basically,
Yeah.
they took that from Call of Duty. It's a resurgence mode where if you die, as long
Yeah.
as your teammates are alive, you get to come back. Once the certain amount of time in circles has happened, the reloading goes away. You're no longer able to drop back in. Now with this mode, this OG mode, they seen that they brought the OG mode back, and how many players came back. The player base boomed when they brought back the Fortnite OG. So the OG map and everything, and the guns. So what they did was
Of
they
course
said,
it
you know
brought
what?
me
Since
back.
it did,
That's
yeah,
it's
since it did so well, let's just
how
make
popular it was.
a whole mode. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for this as well.
So what they're saying here is that, and this is coming from GameSpot, but the leakers, Fortnite leakers, Shinna BR and HypeX, said that the first 10 seasons of Fortnite will collectively make up Chapter 1 and are said to be returning on a monthly basis. And only the OG loot will be supported. Additionally, both Fortnite's Battle Royale mode and zero build modes will be incorporated into OG.
Interesting.
That's
so,
like they did that with the first OG too. They did 0 and no.
Yeah, they brought it to those. I thought it was going to be its own separate mode.
So,
well,
question for this, because obviously the Juice World event, I think is probably going to end up topping even like the Travis Scott event. I think is the #1 event that they've ever done in Fortnite. Like
Right.
obviously they had the Ariana Grande one, they've had Marshmello,
Mhm.
they've had multiple ones, M&Ms.
Yeah.
I think Juice World, because Juice World has passed, obviously, I think that will be.
It's gonna hit
the
different.
big
It's gonna be big.
Do you think though that there is a lifespan on this? Like, do you think that Fortnite, like in 5 years, are we going to still be talking about Fortnite? Right? Like, are we still gonna be
Fortnite won't
talking
die.
about-
Fortnite won't die. I'm not trying to say unfortunately, but just due to the fact of how Fortnite incorporates culture into it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
rappers,
No, I
singers,
agree. Yeah.
artists. They got Rocket Racing, like Rocket League. They've put in the little like Guitar Hero type
Just think
thing in there.
one day they're
It's-
gonna incorporate the pre-patch podcast on there. I mean, we'll be
We'll
characters.
have to
in
get it
Fortnite.
inside of Fortnite.
No.
Yeah. We'll have a
No,
live event.
look,
That's
Let
how
me,
we'll
let me
do
tell you
our
something right now.
podcast.
Let me tell you something right now, Enigma. If they offer enough money, I don't give a fuck. You'll swallow it and be
No.
on that fucking
Yeah.
show.
No, I won't.
Yes, you will. Yes, the fuck you. I'll replace your ass with Ariana
If
Grande.
not, we're going back down to a 4-man.
Yeah,
so-
but I don't think Fortnite is going anywhere. The
No,
thing was, we also had that discussion about,
Oh, yeah.
hey, well, will they make a Fortnite 2? And I said, honestly, I
They don't
don't
have
know.
to.
They don't
That
have
is-
exactly.
they
They
don't
don't
have
have
to.
to.
None
They
of
can
these
keep going.
games
So
that
you
have
gotta-
come out with a 2 have needed to make Overwatch 2 not necessary. Smite 2 not necessary.
You're right.
Nobody needs to do this.
Well,
Except for Siege.
there is certain
enough.
points. Yeah, like Siege is getting to the point where
Getting
like
there.
making a second one is probably there. The question that you really, or the thing you got to really look at with Fortnite, right? And I'm gonna call my little nephew out. He's 10 years old, right? That kid is obsessed with Fortnite, and I love you, bud. You are. He is obsessed. All of his friends are. Everybody he goes to school with is obsessed. You're never going to kill Fortnite until at least maybe this next upcoming generation. And even then,
No,
like you said,
even then, because
there's-
kids are growing
yeah.
up on this.
Yeah.
Like even like babies
This
and
is-
children.
this
Parents
is-
are,
this
are
is
giving
this
their
season's-
kids the controller to play.
Fortnite for this generation is what COD was for our generation.
Yeah, agree.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
So
Just
I kind of wish
they aren't,
Fortnite would like start to decline this, so they can start doing like more wild shit and like instead of playing it so safe. Like I want to see the Diddy Party season. Like,
Whoa!
that would be
What?
hilarious.
no, hey, whoa,
Bill's, hold on a
Bill's
second.
opinion is
It
entirely
does not
his own.
reflect
He
anybody
doesn't
else on this
say.
fucking show.
Wow.
I think
shit,
it would be
Bill.
funny.
Oh
That was a joke.
Oh my god.
Yo, there's a lot.
Whatever.
There are very few things that will fucking make me speechless. That right there fucking did it. Congratulations,
Okay.
Bill.
Well done. Well
Yeah.
done.
Wow.
Their next map is gonna be Epstein Island. Like,
Okay,
holy
all right.
shit.
Oh, Jesus.
Move on.
Hey,
Move
yo,
on. Cut it out.
please,
Cut it.
Oh my God.
I don't want to. Please don't fire me. This is them. I'm not supporting that. I don't agree. No
Cut
Diddy
the
Party, no
mics.
Diddy Island, no
Cut the
Epstein
mics.
Island, none of that shit. None of that. Absolutely fucking
That was
not.
good.
Oh, shit.
Holy crap.
Bro,
All right, we're moving
I
on to
love it.
fucking Dragon Age. We can't, no more. All right. So we talked about Dragon Age last week on the show, and I've actually put a little bit more time into it. I actually have to disagree with everybody. Well, I guess most of the world. I think that Rogue and the Warrior, I mean, nobody liked the Warrior content, but the Rogue, I don't actually think is that fun. Like, to me, the Mage is definitely the fun play style for that game, in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Fun and polished are two different things. The Rogue is definitely the most polished out of all three of the classes, but yeah,
yeah.
whatever.
It
It
is
is what it
pull
is.
up the wrong fucking news article. This is.
Oh. I think so.
Yes, I did, because this is the one I want to talk about first. But Dragon Age Veilguard, they basically came out and said,
Oh.
we're not getting any more expansions, and the team is actually shifting over to Mass Effect.
Yes.
I mean, sure, you
Which
can
is
say, yeah,
which
I'm,
is sad.
yeah, I'm kind of
bad.
like, I'm like,
It's terrible.
I'm actually not happy about this. By the way, this came from GameSpot. Because I think, like, to me, that much of a like just that quick of a switch being like, hey, game's out, boom, moving. I mean, I get that we don't, not every game has to have downloadable
it's down
content,
the route.
but
Yeah, it's
So-
down the route of like what's it called? I'm worried the Dragon Age is going to get to a point where it's going to be like Assassin's Creed, where they're just going to pump a Dragon Age out every fucking year.
That's
Dragon Age,
exactly
Dragon
what
Age,
I
Dragon
what I
Age.
think is gonna happen. But at the same
And
time,
if that's the
I
case,
see news like
It's
this,
terrible.
there's no point for me to actually purchase the game. You understand? If I
There's
see
no
you
point for
say
to actually
Dragon,
purchase it anyway.
but what I'm saying is, if you say, "Oh, the studio has now seemingly shifted entirely to the next Mass Effect," and you're not planning any downloadable expansions for the Veilguard, so at that point, what does that mean to me? Was this a cash
not
grab, or
only-
do you really
Right.
care
Do
about
you
Yeah.
the
think
game?
this was originally their plan, or do you think
Thank
this
you.
is
No confidence in
directly
the product.
affected by just the sales of the game and how the game performed? Do you think?
No, I think this
like,
was their original plan.
They
I-
planned
I,
to
I
do
don't.
that.
they
I
always
don't
had this
think
in
they
mind.
had any.
I think it's
I don't think
reinforced
they
by
had any
sales,
intention.
but-
It definitely is, but yeah.
Because
I
you
don't
know, if
think
this
they had
game would have
any
been a
intention of that.
blockbuster hit, they would have found
They
a
would've
way
did.
to do an
Yes.
expansion of some type.
Yes, they would
Yeah.
have exactly
Well,
what Bill
and-
said. Because
And
There's no
this news really worries me for Mass Effect too, because like all the people that are shifting over from this game, and like, agree with me or not, right? We can all agree that the story was terrible, right? Like not even just the story, but the dialogue in general was bad.
The
It
dialogue
was-
Dragon
delivery
the
is not
writing,
good.
Yeah,
the
Dragon Age.
dialogue, the story, rough, right? In
don't
Dragon
know.
Age,
The story's
moving
okay.
that moving over to Mass Effect, which is another fucking huge BioWare title.
Story driven,
It
very.
really, really worries me for the future of BioWare for one,
Yeah.
and the future of Mass Effect and Dragon Age in general.
So,
Right?
Bill,
Like-
I agree with you. I think the story is actually good. The writing is bad. The story is good.
The writing is bad. The story is delivered poorly, but the story itself, I'm enjoying. But I get what you're saying, Enigma,
Right.
where the
But you need good
lack of
writing and-
talent
and
in that
dialogue to
particular
back that up.
department. Yeah, it's going to be. Honestly, I think it's going to show worse in Mass Effect than it
It
will,
will.
in
Yeah,
Dragon
yeah,
Age, because
100%.
Mass Effect's dialogue and story tone,
Is 95% of the game. not
that and
It's just-
it's
well, that-
it's such a different
it's-
shift. Like with Dragon
Yeah.
Age, you at least have the high fantasy aspect where you can
Yeah.
like flavor and spice it up. Mass Effect is very dark sci-fi, and they're
Yeah.
not going to be
Mhm.
able to fluff that in the way that they did the dialogue with
And
Dragon
aren't
Age
they
and have the
also
tone stay the same. It's going to
very-
completely kill the tone.
Right. And,
Yeah.
and Mass Effect also is very choice driven too.
Well, so is Dragon Age.
So is
Age.
this.
Well,
Yeah.
so is Dragon Age,
They
but
didn't.
they didn't in this one, and I'd argue just a bit more choice driven than previous Dragon Age titles. I'm not saying Dragon Age your choice didn't matter, but Mass
No,
Effect.
You're arguing
no,
that
was
Dragon Age, original
substantial.
Dragon Age. Again, I've never played them, but I just know from a fact from hearing from people, Dragon Age and Mass Effect both extremely dependent on
Yeah.
like your choices.
Both,
This one did not.
Every
This one
decision,
had it.
every
Yeah,
decision.
This one
in-
did not.
It didn't. give a
every
shit.
decision in early Dragon Age games pretty much fed into the ending of the game, pretty much more or less. Granted, there were specific endings. Obviously, it's just,
Yeah.
just like Baldur's Gate 3. There's very specific endings. They didn't have as many endings as Baldur's Gate 3, but yeah, every decision was a
Okay,
factor
well,
when it came to
So-
it, right?
So in yeah, I can see that. Mass Effect had bits. It really just depended on which one. Well, no, all of them. You played all of them. They all had those.
Yeah, Mass
bits,
Effect.
Yeah,
All of your choices in Mass Effect were huge.
Yeah.
they
when it came down to
matter.
it.
impactful.
So,
Yeah, they
So
really matter.
so that's my only worry with that, and then that's the last.
Do you
I'm gonna
think?
say,
Do you
but, so-
think that because one of the things that's in this article that they talk about, which is we talked about this last week, is that Dragon Age Veilguard was actually supposed to be originally a live service game. It was supposed to be multiplayer. And
Co-op?
whatnot. I actually,
I imagine.
what's up?
I don't think it was
Co-op?
supposed to be co-op. It
No,
wasn't supposed to be
well,
multiplayer.
it literally,
was supposed to be live
is a
service.
no. It was the Veilguard originally had a live service design before being rebooted as a single player games. John Epler stated that they wanted to they shifted the design from multiplayer to focus more on a single
Oh,
player
okay.
Interesting.
driven narrative.
Oh wow.
The only remnant that stuck around was the like loot system and like the gear
Right.
system, which I think
Yeah.
is like awesome. I
Yeah,
really like how they do the gear in the
yeah,
game.
I enjoy that as well. So question here though, do you think that multiplayer is going to be something that they're going to try to force into Mass Effect?
It better not.
I mean, multiplayer's been in Mass Effect. Let me
Yeah,
say
I was
that.
gonna say,
Like,
hopefully,
Yeah,
it's
Yeah,
like
but it doesn't
the
good.
main
no,
game.
I mean,
I-
Wasn't
I didn't
multiplayer
mind the multiplayer in Mass
aside?
It was like a horde mode. It was like a horde-
collectively, it was not received well, especially considering the game Mass Effect originally was a single player
They
story driven.
they tried
Yeah.
to
It was.
tie the
They
multiplayer into like
Yeah.
a galactic, like a very much of like Helldivers, a galactic
The-
warfare that you're all
Yeah.
kind of contributing, pushing back this
Mhm.
like horde that's coming in. It did. I mean,
Mhm.
some people liked it, but I don't think it really worked for what they're wanting. I'm just
It
wondering
didn't
that
work
are
at
they
all.
going to? Could you see them going down this route here?
I hope they don't.
You know,
Mhm.
well, I mean, interesting. I just-
with the fact that Veilguard went away from it, I think that I have a hope that they don't go down that route, but
I mean, we're
I don't
six
think
months.
they
Veilguard,
I don't think they will. I
Yeah, I
I
don't
genuinely
think they will.
don't.
I don't
It
think they
doesn't
will either.
match. It doesn't match the style of the game. It doesn't like the only thing I could see them doing would be like very select co-op. But
Okay.
even then, I
So
I would
got a
rather they
question.
not.
Did
Yeah, so
Andromeda have multiplayer? It did, didn't it?
I don't think it had- I don't think it had co-op.
Remember, I don't think it had co-op.
Because if you remember, Mass Effect 3 allowed you to play that side multiplayer with friends in order to push back the Galactic Horde, whatever. But I
The
don't
campaign's
remember.
100% single player. There is a survival mode with up to 4 players in Andromeda. So
yeah,
no-
and
so-
Andromeda had the same multiplayer as Mass Effect
So
3.
if
so.
if hopefully they've learned, but if they haven't, they might do the same thing with. Mass
I'm
Effect.
telling,
down the same
mark my
trend.
words, that this game we're not going to see for a couple years, right? It's going to take a couple years for this game to come out. It's not even in, I don't think, development yet, or is just now getting in development. Mark my words, though, if there's not as much of a fallout around live service games, I guarantee that Mass Effect will end up being like, or has a high chance probability of being like Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League.
Oh
Um,
no!
I think that
I'm
would
bad.
just kill it.
I'm not saying that's great. I'm just saying that
No, yeah.
I foresee it
If
being
you're right,
that way. You can look at, like, Bill, you can see it too. Like, and I see it just in the small amount, playing Dragon Age and seeing how the targeting system works, the spell system works, all that. You see those shards of, like, you know, oh, this was meant to be another person here, you know, targeting this character, using their spells. Like, I just, it's,
Yeah.
it screams
like
Suicide
specifically
Squad.
with the ranged characters that attack you, like you seeing the arrow, like the targeting arrows, and then they highlight whenever the projectile is being thrown. That
Right.
It's to clue you in that, hey, I can, if I have a defensive spell, I should use it on this person because they're being pegged right now.
Right. So there be
Whoa.
what?
Hmm.
Geez, whoa.
wait, what?
Pegged to Diddy Party, bro?
Jesus.
Epstein Island? Jesus.
Listen,
All right.
listen.
Let's talk about something else that the Dragon Age team is saying. Basically, the likelihood that you are going to get a remaster or whatever else, and like this, there was a thought that you may get like a master edition of the Dragon Age series with
Like
Dragon
how they
Age.
did with the like with the Andromeda or the Mass
Yeah.
Effect stuff.
Said no.
Yeah.
They will not
Yeah.
do this. This was basically said,
I
nope,
mean-
they're not doing it. We are not.
The,
Well,
the reason
they're
that they
not-
gave
they're
for
not-
it
yeah.
is it's not because they don't want to. It's because nobody
Yeah.
in the department knows
Nobody
how to
knows how
fucking
to
do it.
Fucking work the engine. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's due
Wow.
to the old
So
engine.
we talked about this last week. The original BioWare, the people that originally made Dragon Age 1, 2, Origins, Inquisitor, none of them pretty much work there anymore. This is an entirely new team. So
That makes
Yeah,
a lot of sense.
It wouldn't be a risk though if they could do it, because you know that shit would sell like hotcakes, just like the Mass Effect Master
it would,
Edition did.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that shit would
see,
be
I
a
don't
big
know,
seller,
man.
but nobody apparently in BioWare knows the Eclipse engine well enough to put the resources into it.
But they could source that out. Like, I honestly think that the poor sales, the poor kind of attention that Dragon Age Veilguard got, basically BioWare, the heads there said, nope, no more money into no more money into
That's
Dragon Age.
Exactly.
We're
where
going
my
Mass
thoughts were
Effect.
going.
And
That's what I told. That's what I said was
you know,
going to happen last week. Was that
and they're not.
they're-
They don't care.
they're done.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that they give a shit anymore about it. And I would honestly be surprised if we ever. Well, I wouldn't say ever, because ever is a very final thing. But I would be very surprised if a new Dragon Age comes out.
I think that you will get
So-
this.
This way forward.
Keep this in mind. I
So-
think that you will get this master rework. I think that you're going to end up getting it like how
think so.
we got Demon Souls, where they give it over to another company, just like you saw with Silent Hill 2, just like not
All-
Resident Evil. They're going to give it to another company and they're
I
going to
will-
rework it.
I will agree with that if Mass Effect, the new Mass Effect, does well.
That's
If the
what I
new
was
Mass
about to
Effect
say.
Yeah.
fails as bad as Veilguard has done,
We're gonna have a
again,
Ubisoft. We're gonna have a Ubisoft
y-
thing going on.
Or
fail.
honestly,
If
that will
Ubisoft or
happen if BioWare
Dragon
gets
Age-
bought out.
if
That will
Dragon
happen.
Age does as bad, if Mass Effect does as bad as Dragon Age has done, I am very worried for BioWare in general. I don't.
Yeah.
If Mass Effect does that as terribly as Veilguard has done, BioWare might be gone. They might
This
be
is-
axed.
this is the
I'm
thing, the
surprised.
old
I'm personally
echelon is
surprised that they
going
haven't been
away.
axed already. There hasn't been a fucking
Well, you think
announcement
they'll
already.
be you think they'll be axed, or do you think there's gonna be like buyers lining up to buy them out? Because that's
EA's not going to get rid of BioWare.
He is not going to get rid of him. Yeah, no, that's a huge
They're-
IP
they'll-
to be
they'll-
giving over to somebody else.
They're not going to get rid of them. Like I said, that's
don't
what
think so.
tells me that they are going to milk the old products versus making anything new. BioWare will no longer BioWare doesn't exist anymore, but they will absorb into the other, making Battlefield or making whatever else, working on these other projects. They'll take these
Yeah.
IPs, they'll send it out to the Bloober team and say, "Hey, you guys go fucking make it." Or Blue Focus or not Blue Focus. Who did Demon Souls? Bill.
Blue Point.
Blue Point.
Blue
Though I
Point,
don't think they'll go to Blue Point, but something like that. Just
No.
go,
No,
hey,
they're Sony bot, so
yeah, hey, remake this shit, right? And make it fucking amazing, make it beautiful. Boom, go out there. Like I just that is too much of a cash cow for them to leave there. And I actually think that if Mass Effect does poorly, that is a more highly chance that you'll get that because they want to recoup that money. They know that they could recoup it by doing this, and it wouldn't really cost them too much to just say, "Hey, we're gonna farm it out to this other."
I think it would cost them a lot to farm it out to somebody else because again, like the original Dragon Age people have come out multiple times and said that fucking engine is terrible to work with. It's rough around
Yeah,
the
but give it
edges.
to some-
It doesn't
I mean,
work half the time.
Give it to somebody
So,
that can work it. So anyway,
I think you're going to spend more money trying to figure out an outside source to do it than it's feasibly worth, honestly. But
well, let's talk about another thing that costs money and you got to figure out. And apparently, our viewers also think that Bill is correct and Enigma is wrong. The Monster Hunter Wilds seems to have made weapons feel worse.
So not exactly me right, Enigma wrong. This is
No.
purely
No, you right,
a,
Enigma wrong. Just go with it.
this is purely a feel of the weapons. So apparently some people have been pointing out with specific weapons, mainly Charge Blade and Switch Axe, that there is a surprising lack of impact frames with those weapons and certain attacks that they do. And for anybody that doesn't know what an impact frame is, whenever you're doing a game and you want a hit to feel like it has more impact for the player, whenever that hit connects, there is basically a purposeful lag when that hit connects to kind of emphasize the oomph of the swing.
Mhm.
That is missing in this game, so the big attacks aren't getting that impactful feel that they were from World and from Rise.
And
I'm
you know,
glad you explained that because when I was playing this beta, I was trying to understand why I liked the beta. I loved
What
it.
was missing?
But I was trying to understand why I was fighting. Like I was like, bro, why does it feel weird? Like what's
Yeah.
going on? And I
Yeah,
didn't want to
maybe-
bring that to people's attention. I didn't want to
It's
say that
because-
out loud because I didn't want to shit on the
Yeah.
game. I was like, yo,
it's because of the new hit points, the new registry system that they have for wounds and everything like that. And I obviously I don't know this. I haven't worked on it, but in my eyes, the new system that they have for
the
weak
wound
points,
system.
where
Yes,
the wound systems, I think that's where they've put a lot of their time into. And I'm almost curious as well if this, because they've already came out multiple times and said that this version that we got on this alpha or this demo is nowhere near what we're going to be getting
I can believe
on
that.
launch.
I can hear
Right. So
that, yeah.
I'm almost curious if this is like an extremely early version. And I'm not making excuses.
Yes, you
I
are.
didn't personally play physical in any of like the big hitting stuff. I did mostly like bowgun and everything like that. So I didn't personally see that, but I did see it.
Did you
when
try
it came
regular
down to, like-
bell?
I did, yeah.
The Dragon Piercer attack would
Yeah.
be another one
Yep.
that should have like that slow down impact frame.
Well, it's also
on
like
it.
the bowgun, the wyvern shot also felt extremely. It didn't feel as
Okay.
impactful as Worlds did.
Gotcha.
So I can see where they're coming from, but I'm curious if that's to do
I agree.
again with like I said, this is just a very early version. They haven't added that stuff. I'm not making excuses. Again, don't come after me, people. I'm not
look in
the
the
one
camera.
saying this.
Look in the camera when you say it. Look in the camera. It's directed at that
I'm,
one person.
I'm the dude with the
Tell 'em.
hat and the green shirt, not the white shirt. Okay.
You're just
So-
a Monster Hunter
agree.
shill.
I agree. Playing this game though, I actually still loved everything about it. But when
Yeah.
how Bill explained it, that makes sense because as I was playing,
I
was
can
just
see
like,
it,
bro,
yeah.
it just feels a little weird. And I play with the Switch X, so there
Yeah.
was little things that
If you're a Switch X
Just-
player, you felt it more than almost any of the other
I wouldn't doubt
classes.
it.
Yeah, I was just like, bro,
them
it
and the Great
feels a
Sword
little
probably would have felt it really heavily.
yeah.
Hmm.
My only other issue with the game was the mounting. It felt like it's harder to mount monsters now. So I don't
Well,
know.
mounting on
they
monsters, yeah.
changed the mounting system a little bit. I don't know how
Yeah.
it was specifically in World, but whenever you mount a monster, there's like a it's not like a cooldown, but you have to do so much damage to the monster before you're able to mount
Before
it
you're
again.
able to do it again.
Yeah, there's like
see,
there's like a
yeah.
hidden meter on the monster that it's either time based or hit based or a little both or something. I don't know the specifics, but there is a
Okay.
window where you're not going to be able to mount again.
Gotcha. Well, that
There
makes
you go.
sense now. Yeah, appreciate it.
Feels worse.
Hmm.
Hopefully they'll fix it.
I'm
by
sure,
release. I'm sure they will. but
especially if this is a earlier build, as we're kind of
You gotta-
hypothesizing there.
you got to remember, Monster Hunter is and has always been the game that you go to feel like you're swinging around giant slabs of fucking metal at monsters, right? Like that is
Yeah.
what their bread and butter is. I don't see them releasing a game unless it was Rise, but that's a completely different story.
different story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, question for you. So this might not feel good, but what if Sony were to do a Diablo style Bloodborne game? Would that make you feel better?
I think it'd be dope, bro.
Diablo
That would be
style
weird, but I'm for
Bloodborne.
it.
Show
Yeah.
show the
I'm
show
here-
the
I'm here
video.
for it.
There's a video
there's
that
a video
also
here.
attached to it.
I'm hoping that it doesn't. Okay, it doesn't have sound. All right, cool. This is about as close as you're gonna get because if I zoom in, it's gonna not show you the full footage.
I have the YouTube video as well if you want to click on it.
Is it in the thing?
Yeah, it's underneath it, I thought.
I don't know.
Oh, maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't. Oh,
You're
sorry. I
lying.
thought I did.
All
Whatever.
right, somebody in the comments blast out the guy in the black hat and the green shirt and the jacket.
I'm the guy. I'm the guy in the headset.
All right,
In the
so,
black shirt.
yeah. So anyway, Sony it's
Bloodborne top down arena.
This is not a Sony thing. This is
no,
just
I know
this
it's not
is
a
a,
Sony
this is a
thing.
mod.
I know it's
Yeah.
not a Sony thing. It's a mod.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Or a fan
mean,
made RPG type thing.
thoughts about this? I mean, this looks kind
I
of
think it
dope.
looks cool.
It would be
I
cool.
think this looks like
Looks cool,
PoE meets Dark Souls. Like that would be the feel that I would want.
But
from
I'm
it, is
glad
like
you
a
cleared
very
that up because
gritty-
I was about to get upset when you said Sony. Well, I'm like, you really gonna do this, but not do a remake of the goddamn game? I was
Yeah.
about to get pissed.
Yeah.
I was about to get
Yeah.
mad. I'm so thank
This
you for clearing
isn't-
that up.
It's an interesting take that I wouldn't expect from this franchise. And it works way better than I expected it to.
It
Obviously,
does.
this is modified specifically with the style combat in mind. So it's got the auto lock with the pistols. It's got auto lock with the attacks. The buffing has an AoE to it. So they definitely gave it that Diablo style treatment.
That's nice.
But even still, I think it looks dope. I just don't know how viable it would be in a standard Diablo format without
I
having
think-
like multiple characters,
I think it
multiple
would
builds
work.
that you could go into.
I think that you would see a lot of so you would take the Hades style kind of combat because you're already seeing it, right? The dashing, the fucking, whatever else, like lock on. I think you take the Hades style combat, you add in the Bloodborne style weapons, you take out the RNG elements, you add in the leveling system. I mean, it really could work.
Yeah.
But I'm kind
story
of
based
you
top
look-
down, or
Yeah.
not story based,
Well,
but like
a hardcore top
Yeah.
down essentially. Yeah, you look at like PoE 2, what they're trying to do with PoE 2, right? They've slowed it down from PoE. They've made it a little bit more like the hits a little bit more impactful, everything like that. It's there essentially. All it would need essentially would be the Bloodborne.
my only
Skin,
concern
right?
would be bosses. I don't think boss design, the way that From Software does boss design,
Yeah,
would translate to this style of game. I think
I
it would
agree.
be
We would
extremely
we'll-
difficult to be able to properly read attacks and be able to like have those bosses work as intended.
we'll have to see with PoE 2 because like PoE 2 has stated that they want their boss mechanics and their boss encounters to be a lot more hardcore and a lot more hard than they were in PoE 1. So I'm curious to see if
mean-
that is a possibility that could happen.
I think
It
that
could
you know,
happen.
you could do things like look at what Lost Ark did, right? Like their boss encounters are known and their dungeons are known for being extremely
True.
difficult, extremely hard, lots of very subtle nuance mechanics to
The
it.
the reason I bring it up with Bloodborne specifically though is because Bloodborne has the weak spot system, and some of
Yeah.
those weak spots are on parts of the
Mhm.
monster that a top down perspective
do.
would not
Mhm.
be able to accommodate, like heads that are up high, arms that are up above you. Like you have to wait for certain attacks to come down to be able to hit them, or you need to hit them with projectiles.
I think you'd probably just take that out of it entirely and just kind of rework it.
As far as
Yeah.
mobs,
Into
mobs
the
works
top
in
down.
this game, but I would
mobs will work
like
fine.
like Bill said, the boss aspect. I don't just playing so much of these Souls like games. I don't think the bosses there's too many aspects to that for that to be a top down.
You
Just
just,
in my
I think
opinion.
you just rework it, and
curious-
turn it more into like an what I don't know what that genre is where it kind of gives layouts of attacks and that kind of, you know what I mean?
The
Like
most I could see is like Final Fantasy, what was it,
Yeah.
the MMO Final Fantasy, where you see a
Or like Lost
area
Ark.
around it where you have to
Final Fantasy
move out of the
14.
way. 14, yeah. You have
I'm thinking like a Lost Ark style where like, you know, because their bosses and like big events in that game are pretty drawn out and still have a lot of mechanics involved.
Yeah, we'll see how this guy's development goes. Hopefully, Sony doesn't end up canning it like they did Super Bloodborne
100
Card.
Yeah, Sony will 100% contact him and be like, "Stop."
Bloodborne spinoff.
yeah, cease and
You're
desist, please.
guaranteed.
Well, this is I can't imagine this is actually like a legit project he's trying to sell. There's no way.
I mean,
This is-
No.
this
It
is-
doesn't
no,
matter
to me,
so selling
this
or
looks
not.
Or no, I'm just saying this just looks like a fan project, or not even just a fan made thing.
I mean,
like, hey, this is
has
a what
been-
if.
Sony's been okay. Like they had like the demake, right? Like they'd allow that to
Yeah, they allow the
live.
demake. They're allowing the 4K PC emulation so far of
Right.
So
of
far, I don't
Bloodborne.
know.
So
We'll
far.
see how long that
until
lasts,
until they
but-
finally
So they-
remake Bloodborne. Yeah.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
that I mean that's why this has a better shot of actually being okay versus the like the,
Yeah.
They're
the
not
4K
gonna, they're
thing,
not
like,
doing something like this.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
enough.
I don't know. Maybe.
All right. Well, we talked about MMOs earlier on in the show with Brighter Shores. Let's talk about another MMO that recently came out and now is completely overhauling the game. PAX Day. I don't know if you guys remember. Myself and Enigma
Mhm.
kind of jumped into this a little bit and played it. But and it's been out now for what I think maybe like 3 months. It's not been out too
A
long.
little bit longer than that. I think it's been closer to 5. I believe.
Would you say
Yeah.
that?
No shot. PAX Day
I think so.
release.
You guys were saying this game was a snooze fest or something?
So
Or
This game was
something?
terrible. Yeah, when it first released, it was bad.
June 18th is when it launched.
June.
So you know, here's where
5.
it's not a snooze
This was
fest.
the one
It
that
has a
was like-
very-
That was like that one Viking game.
I mean,
or
yes,
similar
it's
to,
very
like,
like guild
this
centric.
is-
Like you are.
this is-
yeah.
Yeah, this is essentially Rust in a fucking fantasy medieval style situation with heavy emphasis on like guild control and territory control. Essentially.
Okay, so not like
Um,
Valheim.
No, not. I
Okay.
mean, in some aspects, I guess you could say it's kind of like Valheim, but yeah, no, it's I would say it leans more heavily in the direction of like Rust or
What was
Rust
that
is like
other?
the closest that I can think of.
What was
it,
that banner
honestly.
one?
Banner Lord.
Banner Lords?
No, not Mord. Something Mordhau.
No,
No,
this is
not
like
even close to
Mordhau.
Mordhau,
No, I mean
Ah,
Rust.
there's
Rust
just-
is
Yeah.
close.
Never mind. Never mind, I'm thinking
I think
Different
that's the
game.
closest thing that I
Yeah.
can think of.
So anyway, the game is very like community driven, very guild heavy, very survival centric.
Yeah.
I actually liked a lot of the elements that were there and whatever. Just it was only me and Enigma, we're gonna get fucking Rick rolled by like everybody that's playing.
So the problem, like it was a competent survival, and like I liked a lot of the aspects of like the building and everything like that. But in the long run, like when I was sitting there looking at it, and then like Sin said, with it just being me and him, it's not like you can get that far. Like in this kind of a game, you need to have a decent group of people. Like this game, skills are locked down, so like you can only do like one or two things. You can't, one character can't do everything, right? So one person would have had to like focus on building, while one person focused on hunting and cooking, while the other person focused on like armor crafting, etc., etc. So you've got to have those, a certain amount of people to play with in order to cover all of your bases, right? But at the same time, like my biggest gripe with it was like, and the reason why we're seeing those snooze fest is in situations, right, is like I got into it and I was just like, I don't see a reason to fucking do it. Like the PvP was sectioned off. Like you had to go to a certain area to do PvP. I think that they've changed that now. I'm not entirely sure on that. But there was no real reason to go out there. Like there was, as far as I know, like it's not like you were getting more experience for going out and doing PvP. There was more risk versus reward at that point. And it felt very, I don't know, maybe you'd argue with me on this, and it felt very like not finished. Like it felt like they went into early access way before they should have.
Was not finished. I mean, here's what we're talking about, right? PAX Day early access. This is an MMO, right? Survival or not MMO. One, just keep in mind, it can hold 7,000 people per server.
Yeah.
Okay. Just keep this in mind when I tell you this number. In the last 22 minutes, 943 players. It peaked at 1,856 over the last 24 hours, and all time has only ever been 11,000. So it's not, and peak players in the last 30 days has been 2,976. So
more than I thought there would be.
I understand this drastic overhaul that they needed, and here's basically the patch notes of what they changed, right? Like they went in. And
I've got the rundown.
Everything. Okay.
Yeah, I've got the quick rundown. So they're doing a world wipe and a map redesign. All player plots were conducted to accommodate a world redesign, featuring more open and natural landscapes, new mountains, passes, better defined biomes, and a new corrupted plains biome with a high level enemies. Biomes and wildlife have been changed. They redistributed for clearer progression, and distinct biomes were added to enhance variety. Wildlife now aligns better with the environment and the zone difficulty, which was one thing that I noticed as well. Like it felt really weird seeing like certain wildlife in certain areas. I was just like, that makes no sense. The crafting and gathering has been updated a little bit. They rebalanced both of those, and now has a target assistance and one button woodcutting mining. New permissions are available for clan roles, and crafting damage now stops if the player takes damage. Journal and UI enhancements, combat improvements. They now have active combat mode, which restricts some actions while in combat. Blocking, melee targeting, weapon hit detections were revamped, and were made more responsive to feel more like punchy. And spells are more accurate with several new ones added, which that was one thing I don't think that they had when we were playing. I don't think they had spells. They added in a druid shortly after we were playing, and I think that they added magic in at that point. I haven't went back for that.
No.
Locomotion tweaks. Running is now the default factor, and the cost of sprinting and jumping and swimming have been adjusted, which is interesting. And then we've got just a couple of other things. Remove balance items, audio and camera updates, bug fixes, and improvements. It's pretty standard, but it's a lot. It's a lot.
Essentially, everything on this game got touched. The question I have, which I guess is more or less for Enigma, because again, I mean, you guys saw it, and I'm sure you guys have looked at it some, but I mean, do you think that PAX Day can make a resurgence back? Because to me, I look at games like Enshrouded, and that just had a huge update and is surging again, and I almost feel like this game, one, price tag way too high. Two, it's just it does. I don't know. It's
another one of those. Again. Yeah, it's another one of those situations where it's like New World or Nightingale, right? Nightingale is another one that I think we're going to be talking about later.
Yep, in a second.
But like it's just one of those situations where it's like, I think for the niche player base that they were targeting, I think it's almost too late, and I think that the niche player base that they do have that will stick around are still playing the game, and I don't think that's going to be enough to bring them back to something that can bring them back into the full like limelight, essentially, right?
In my opinion, the only way this would actually do well again is if you have a streamer that like promotes it and
Well, they had
likes
streamers.
it. I'm talking
Yeah.
about like a big streamer.
Yeah,
Like let's
no,
say the game comes out
when
with
they
a very
released,
good.
they had the big, like, I think Shroud was playing this.
Shroud,
a
Asmongold,
Yeah,
good
there
bit,
was a lot. They'd
Oh.
have to bring him back again.
Yeah, bring them back
somehow.
again to
and even
support
even
the,
then,
update, yeah.
I don't think
It-
that would
it
that'd
might-
give them a big boost for a minute, and then they'd go right back down
Yeah.
to what they were.
Well, yeah, that'll do it.
Unless
Alright,
unless it's truly a really good overhaul.
Yeah, it
If
could
they
be.
bring it back,
I
with
actually
the,
do kind of want to go back and check it
with the
out.
streamers. I don't know.
I'd rather just go play Enshrouded. I want to go play
True.
the
Yeah,
jump.
but
All right, let's talk about overhauls. We talked about Red Dead Redemption coming out last week and releasing for $50 and it being literally looking the same. Well, leave it to modders. They wasn't even a week, and they basically
great,
came in and overhauled the fucking game to make it more realistic, look better. all the things
there's a
that-
video.
Yeah,
there's
I'm
a
gonna play
YouTube.
the video.
Yeah.
But this comes to us from obviously
this-
PC Games, but
This is what should have released. Like when we talked about it last week, I said that if they had released Red Dead Redemption, the re-release in the Red Dead Redemption 2 like graphic styling, and then granted this isn't straight up Red Dead Redemption 2, right? But it is a higher fidelity. If they had released this,
Even
I would
if
have had
they
no
did this,
issue.
dude.
yeah, I would have had no issue purchasing
So
this
is
for
this
$50.
is this the original release or is this?
No,
This is
this
the
is
mod.
this is a
This is
re-release.
the
mod.
This is a mod
Look at that
of
water.
a
Holy
re-release.
shit.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
just crazy
that does
because
not look that good in the re-release.
it's just
Oh,
crazy
wow.
because a modder did this in a week's
Yeah.
time, if
In a
that,
week's time.
and they can't fork out
Without
the time or money to do this themselves.
without any
Like,
mod tools as well, mind you. No
Yeah.
mod tools for this game yet. They just did
here's
this
the thing.
entirely
Why
on
should
their
they?
own.
Why would they? Why would they do it whenever they know that modders will do it for them? They can release this
True.
game at $50. It be the exact same fucking thing, and they're gonna go, "Oh, modders
He's
will take
not-
care of it." And that's
he's not
exactly
but
what
even
happened.
even then,
Yeah.
unfortunately, as much as I would love to play this game in this beautiful looking style, I am not going to still buy the game just because somebody modded it. I would have wanted it to release like
Yeah.
this, and then it would have
And
I
there-
would have been maybe willing to fork up that amount of money. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
because a mod is so unreliable at the end of the day. A mod is not what the game came out originally as.
And they're not doing great. Like Red Dead
Yeah.
Redemption on Steam, they're the release. They peaked at 8,697
Yeah,
players.
they,
and
they
right now
had they had
they're
good day
barely
one sales,
holding
but after
2.
that, like that was it.
Yeah.
It was
So-
that initial. That was
Like I
rough.
said, if they would have released it like this, I would have had no issue paying $50 for it. But yeah, $50 to have to then
Yeah.
download a mod to make it look good.
That's what I'm saying,
good.
yeah.
I'll pass. I'll wait for it to go on sale on Black Friday, which is I guarantee you it will.
But what if they added 10 to 15 additional hours of fluff content that you're forced to play? What if they did that then?
I would have probably
Oh,
bought
go
it. Yeah.
fuck yourself. Go fuck. Oh
Yeah,
my
but
God.
Red Dead's the game to do that because
Oh,
You've
man.
never played Red Dead. Red Dead would be great with 10 to
I have
15
played
more
Red
extra
Dead.
hours of
I have
story.
played Red Dead.
Oh, you have?
Redemption.
Okay.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
played
Oh,
Red Dead,
okay,
I think
good.
So, all right. Well, you also mentioned Nightingale, and we are going to kind of wrap up the final news segment talking about Nightingale. So if you are unfamiliar with this game, Nightingale was a survival-esque multiplayer game with some RNG
Yeah.
elements and cool concepts, cool
Had
stuff.
some cool concepts. Yeah.
All of these
Yeah.
types of
I
things.
actually did like the card system that they had in it, like the world
Yeah.
system.
I remember
liked
you
that
praising
idea.
the
That
card
was so
system
fucking
big
cool.
time.
yeah.
It was such a good fucking idea, dude.
The game had just several issues, was plagued with problems. Just it really I blame Microsoft because Microsoft was really heavily pushing this. The game launched in early access.
Why blame Microsoft when their fucking release was terrible? What do you mean? Microsoft
I'm
had
talking
nothing to
about-
do
I'm-
with the fucking
no,
game
I'm
being
saying-
terrible.
No. I think Microsoft forced them to release sooner than what it needed to be, is what I'm saying. Like I think Microsoft had a
don't
lot
know
of push
about that.
behind it. And I think that the game got pushed out sooner than what it should have been. in this early access state. But in any case, Inflection Games are closing their UK office, laying off staff, restructuring their main Canadian studio after failing to
Yeah.
find a commercial success with the Victorian fantasy game of Nightingale. Reportedly having lost 22 people have been let go from the game or
It's
from the
unfortunate.
studio. I don't know if anybody, I don't know. Have they reported they're closing the game? Like, is the game done? Like, are they?
No, I don't.
No, they're not.
that
They're
they've
not
reported.
closing the
They
game.
haven't said
Yeah,
anything about
not I've
that.
seen.
Yeah, just the UK office has shut down and the layoffs. Other than that, I believe they're still operating just in their one office now.
Okay, so they're not shutting the game down, but it doesn't look
No.
good for the game. I mean,
It's not a great look. Yeah,
do you
definitely.
think this game could have actually ever had a turnaround? Like, do you think that the game
No.
could have survived?
Not
I
with
don't know how it
not
could've-
with their current developers. I don't think that whoever is developing currently had any fucking clue what they wanted to do with the game. I think that like they were in a development hell for so long that it was terrible, man.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's unfortunate.
All right. Yeah, it is unfortunate. All right. Well, that wraps up all of our news. We are now moving into the final section, which is our quick hit section. These are articles that we wanted to just kind of mention.
Also,
bring it.
Really quickly, Inflection Games isn't owned by Microsoft.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they are
bring
owned by
that up.
Microsoft. I'm not saying they're owned by Microsoft. I'm saying that they
But
were.
it didn't come out on Xbox either.
It
was,
didn't come out on
it was
It came out on
Windows.
Game Pass. It
No,
came
it
out on
didn't.
Game. The fuck it did.
No, it didn't. It didn't.
It's Windows, like Steam only, from what I'm seeing here.
I am.
It'll be available for Windows
I
systems only. The early access
don't-
period is
Okay, well then I
estimated to be-
stand.
there
I
was-
stand
there
fucking
was no
corrected.
Xbox
I
Game
could
Pass.
have.
I was going to bring it up
sworn-
at the very end of
I
the
was
show.
like,
Okay.
what?
because
All right. Well then.
they're GeForce partnered, so it's on GeForce now, but
Okay.
it's not on Game
All right.
Pass.
Cool. Then I eat crow right now. I'm sorry. I will take it out, but it's not Microsoft. I could have
You
sworn
go-
we
you
saw
go
this.
You go apologize to
I'm
Daddy
not
Phil
apo-
right now.
No, absolutely not.
Can we still somehow blame Microsoft? I don't know.
Was this not on
promoted it
Microsoft's
Sin
fucking
wants to.
game show? Like on their one of their
No, it was
showcases? I could
actually.
have
I
sworn.
think it was on the one of
It
the
might
game
have been, but
showcases.
I could have.
It didn't
I
release
agree
on
with
Game
Sin.
Pass.
But yeah,
I do agree with Sin. I could have sworn that it was on
I
Game Pass. at
swear to
one point.
God, I saw this
No.
somewhere. on
But
Game
I
Pass.
could be
Again,
wrong.
I'm
But
not
this was something that was talked about, like about Game Pass with this game. But I could be wrong.
sure.
I'm
Yeah.
seeing it right here. It is only available on Steam and Epic Game Stores
Okay.
and GeForce Now Experience.
All right. Well, then I guess I blame Epic. I don't know. I'm just. Look, was this game self-published? Because if it's
It is
self-published.
self-published. Yes.
All right,
It
well,
is,
fuck
yeah.
it. Then I blame Inflexion Games. They pushed their fucking game out too far soon.
Oh,
Sorry,
man.
Microsoft. It's
Exactly.
not
I'm
Microsoft's,
like, what?
it's not Microsoft's fault. All right. Well, it's Inflexion Games. So, but anyway, all right. Well, like I said, we're going over quick hits. Quick hits are basically just articles that we wanted to talk about that are not necessarily, segment worthy, but they are important to mention. So one, Death Stranding Shadow dropped on the Xbox. So that's kind of cool.
That's just wild to me. So the Kojima got full production rights from Sony of Death Stranding, or full distribution rights from Sony for Death Stranding, and immediately put it over to Xbox. So way to go, Kojima.
yeah,
props.
yeah, there you go.
I don't know what he had to do to get full rights of the game from Sony, but
He just walked in and put his Kojima on the desk and said, "I'm Kojima." was it.
honestly, that's probably exactly how it went.
Yeah. Speaking of Kojima, Metal Gear Solid 3, mystery voice actress revealed after 20 years. This was
Yeah, this the original voice actress for what was the character
For
Bill?
Eva.
Eva is the voice actress that did the Little Mermaid.
Yeah,
she wasn't-
It has
she wasn't
been doing
able-
the Little Mermaid over the past 20
Yeah.
years.
She wasn't able to put that out there in the world because she didn't want to ruin her reputation for family friendly content.
oh, hey,
Yeah, so
real
she,
quick.
she was credited as a pseudonym.
Whoever
so,
the fuck
yeah.
is the anonymous Liger in the fucking document, can you quit? You fucking put shit everywhere.
That might be me.
Take Two has sold the private division to an unnamed buyer.
Yeah,
Nintendo-
just really quick, Private Division are the guys that did Kerbal Space Program, and they've ruined that franchise like completely. So
Did they do Kerbal Space Program 2? Right?
Yeah.
They did them both, yeah. Because I know that one was really.
I think they
No,
did the first.
I think
They
they did
did the second one.
Yeah,
The first one was a
somebody else, right?
completely different team, and then Private
That's-
Division took over 2 and completely ruined the fucking franchise.
Yeah.
Netflix, Arcane is the most expensive animated show ever made, with a reported $250 million price tag. So kudos
Not
there.
surprising.
Really well
not
done though.
I've
surprising.
heard this new season's dope.
It's really, really good.
Yeah, I cannot
Um,
wait.
On the negative side, though, Netflix is promoting their AI game dev part after closing their studio, which was made up of some really good talent from the God of War series and a couple other ones, and they laid them off, and then they're going to this AI
For
game
AI.
development. So, yep, for AI. So,
Yeah. Well,
there you go.
AI's taking our jobs.
Yep.
Dude, wait, speaking of AI, I've been playing Minecraft AI. Have you seen that?
No, I
Okay,
haven't.
okay,
It's
listen.
It's literally Minecraft controlled by AI, like virtually.
So
It's
you don't have to
weird, man.
play.
So you're not playing the
No.
fucking game. What?
No,
You're not playing
you're-
anything.
No,
What
no,
the
no. You
fuck?
are playing it. You're controlling it, but like you're going through the world, and it's all being like generated by AI. It's so weird,
Oh,
man. You just have to see it. It
I'll have to
after a
check it
while,
out.
it does implode on itself because it
Yeah,
just
of
can't
course.
take it. Yeah, it's weird, man.
You're talking about procedurally generated shit. I don't know. This is not new, Scruffy.
No, you'd have to see it.
Okay.
Like
All right.
seriously,
I'll
it's
go check it out.
different.
Yeah.
All right. Nintendo Switch 2 will officially be backwards compatible with the original Switch game, so that's good. That's awesome.
that is good.
That's huge. That's
Um,
huge. I don't think there's been a Nintendo console that's been backwards compatible.
well, they've all used
Wii and
different
Wii U.
versions of outside of those
Wii-
two.
Wii and U, yeah.
They've which
That's
let's
pretty
arguably say the Wii U
Yep.
didn't sell, so it didn't really matter. So it never had backwards
Yeah.
compatibility. Steam
It's
game
pretty
recording
neat.
is now live for all Steam and Steam Deck users. That's also really dope. Binding of Isaac free co-op update goes live. Really cool there. Plunderstorm is going to return, which Plunderstorm is the BR mode, which was wildly successful to
outta here.
going
Was it
out.
successful?
Yeah, it was successful.
I remember us
Why
ragging
would
on it so bad.
I mean, we did rag on it, but it was fucking successful. They had a bunch of people playing it. Plunderstorm returns
Yeah.
to World of Warcraft in early 2025.
I guess they're adding a lot of new shit with it too. It
Yeah.
was just such a long title. I left that
Yep.
out.
Hogwarts Legacy 2 is in development, and the first game sold over 30 million copies. So they're working on Legacy 2.
I've heard
we
that's
kinda
in
knew that was gonna happen.
coordination with the Hogwarts TV series that's
It
coming
is,
out, so that's
yes.
kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
It
They're
is,
linking
yeah.
those universes.
PS5 Pro quietly scrubs out the AK label off the box, which I'm pretty sure we fucking dogged them on for
Yes,
that.
we did.
But proudly adds that disc-free label. So thank
Yeah,
God.
I think they
it's-
legally had to add the disc-free label because
Yeah, of course.
it's
Yeah.
false
Yeah.
advertising.
Right.
It
Yeah.
just it just made me laugh. They're like, let's sneakily get rid of the AK because we can't actually do that. And
The pro's a joke anyway.
Yeah.
GTA 6
$800 for what, 10 frames extra in most cases?
Yeah.
GTA 6 is still on track to release in fall 2025. Take-Two confirmed it in their quarterly report released today. I call bullshit. Take-Two
So do I.
CEO comments also on Borderlands movie, saying that the movie was disappointing, but it was actually had a small positive impact on the company and it has helped sell more Borderlands games.
That's
Yeah.
a good.
I could see that.
Yeah, push
we
people
called
towards the
that,
good
yeah.
media.
I mean,
We
I don't
called
know.
that because like when we talked about the actual movie, and don't fucking copyright strike it. I guarantee you somebody's gonna try. So we're talking about it. I think when we were talking about it, we were like, yeah, the only thing this is gonna do is drive sales for Borderlands games.
Yes.
Yep.
and it did.
Sega has said that there is a new virtual fighter in development. Virtual fighter.
Is
in
there really
development.
a new
Fighter.
virtual
It's
fighter?
really going to happen, guys. They're going to
really?
get a new virtual fighter.
Oh my
It's in
God.
development.
That's cool.
And yes, it is. And Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 does not feature controversial anti-piracy tech Denuvo or any DRM at all. So there you go.
I'm so happy about that because
That's big,
Denuvo
yeah.
came out recently and was like, yeah, fucking gamers are just assholes and they don't like our game because we're so successful. And I'm like, no, that's not why gamers don't like
Mm-mm.
Denuvo.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth.
All right. Well, that wraps up the entire episode
GG.
of 143.
Jeez.
We gave you guys an
All
additional
right.
15 fucking minutes. We're gonna ask for those back next time. So just I'm taking it out of your paycheck,
Yeah.
just so you guys know. It will
Okay.
be getting
Mhm.
returned back. So, or maybe there's a tariff tax. Who knows? There's the political statement that we were all waiting for. All right. But in any case, yeah, no, like I said in the beginning of the show, we are going to have 2 more episodes next week's show. And then after that, we will have the pre-patch podcast Game of the Year episode. We're going to be covering Enigma. Correct me if I'm wrong, but pretty much all of the topics that will be on or not topics.
Pretty much all of the segments or whatever you want to call them. The everything that the Game of the Year is going to cover for the most part, we're going to cover. So all the actual like genres and everything like
Game
that, we're going to cover.
And
Except for
Categories.
accessibility, because categories. Except for the accessibility category, because we can never understand what the fuck that's about every year, anyways. We don't really understand it to begin with.
It's hard
when it
unless
comes
you
down
play
to
the
like
game,
most
right?
games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we should
And-
understand. But I feel like we can never gauge it because of the games they pick for it. It's weird.
Well, it's also the fact that we don't use those things, so it's like it's not something that we're capable of.
Unless it's colorblind
grading off
mode.
of.
Yes.
Unless it's colorblind mode. That is true. Or arachnophobia mode, because I don't like spiders. And we are also not going to be covering the esports sections because we
And to be
care.
clear as well, we're not going off of what they have selected. We're going off of
Yeah,
we're picking
we're-
our own. So these
we're
are
just
we're using their
using their
categories, and
categories.
we're filling in our picks
our
for
games.
that. So
yeah,
on that week's episode, we won't be talking about games that we've played. We won't be talking about anything else other than the Game of the Year. So that's going to be a really, really awesome episode. And then after that,
I'm excited to have Tony here for it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can, Tony, you cannot pick
Yes.
Fortnite for all of your fucking games. I just
Yeah.
want to let you know.
Yeah, Tony.
You can't
No,
pick
that's not
fucking
true.
Fortnite,
That's
bro.
not true. He
God
can
damn it.
pick Fortnite for best ongoing game. If I can pick, what's it called?
No, absolutely not.
Cyberpunk?
Absolutely not.
Cyberpunk.
If I can pick
Not
Cyberpunk for
no,
best.
No.
Wasn't it?
No,
if I'm not
The
mistaken,
fact that
too,
they won.
It was last
They
year, yeah.
Won.
the-
They
I-
won that shit last year.
it
Fuck
literally
that.
cost me like it caused me and Enigma to go to we actually stopped
Pretty
talking
much,
for
man.
like 3
Yeah.
days
For like a week.
because of that fucking discussion. So,
It was serious.
we almost ended a friendship because of fucking Cyberpunk.
I
So
was like,
in that
get outta
category
here,
alone.
bro.
But in any
Jeez.
case, I'm super happy that we had the entire crew back today. Again, so apologize to all of our YouTube viewers. We will figure it out, and then we'll get this video obviously uploaded.
Fight your ISP.
Yeah, I'm going to trust me. I'm calling them tomorrow. Figure out what is going on. But in any case, I have been Sinan, and I am speaking for the entire rest of the crew with Hey Tony, Enigma, Billy the Squid, and Agent Scruffy. It's been a wonderful, wonderful episode. Make sure you check out all of our channels. Go to anchor.fm/prepatch podcast or any of your podcasting apps. Go to our YouTube page, Discord. Hit us up on TikTok. I think we still accept mail. I'm on MySpace. So yeah, we can
broadcast the show over what's it called, the little
yeah,
thing.
Telegraph. Yeah. Some of us get it through carrier pigeon. So or
my
trade
God.
foxes. But in any case, guys, y'all have a wonderful night. We will catch you guys on next week's episode at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Pre-Patch Podcast channel. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Yeah.
Installation.